Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Facts channel. Tonight, we'll drift together into the quiet glow of the cosmos, exploring the gentle mysteries of stars and the soft language of light. As you settle deeper into rest, allow your breath to slow and your thoughts to soften. Let the world around you fade for a while. Let the weight of the day melt from your shoulders. There is nothing left for you to do. Nothing left to hold on to. Just this moment, and the vast, calm universe opening itself in front of you, steady and slow. Out there, far beyond the edges of our familiar sky, light travels through space in silence. It moves without hurry and without exhaustion, carrying with it the quiet stories of stars that lived, burned, and shimmered long before anyone looked up to see them. When you gaze at the night sky, even for just a heartbeat, you are witnessing messages that have traveled across centuries and millennia, perhaps across entire eras of Earth's history. Some of those rays left their stars before oceans formed, before mountains rose, before the first forests dreamed their way into being. The light that touches your eyes tonight carries the memory of ages, a gentle thread connecting your small moment of stillness to the oldest structures in the cosmos. As you rest, imagine this light drifting through the dark like a whispered lullaby. Each photon begins its life in the heart of a star, born from atomic fusion, a transformation so subtle and so patient that we can almost imagine it as a kind of cosmic breathing. Inside those stellar cores, where pressure and temperature rise to unimaginable levels, hydrogen atoms merge into helium, releasing delicate packets of energy. These packets, these small, wandering particles of light, begin a slow journey outward, taking thousands, even millions of years to pass through the dense layers of a star's interior. It is a long, meandering path, like a dream, searching for its way to the surface. Only when the photon escapes into open space does its journey become swift, gliding across the vacuum, at the universe's speed limit, the fastest thing allowed to exist. Even now, as you lie here listening, countless photons from distant suns are brushing gently against our world. Some slip through your window, some reflect softly from your walls, some drift unnoticed across your skin before, continuing on their endless voyage. Light does not age as we do. It does not tire. It simply moves, carrying with it the quiet imprint of its origin. And when it finally meets an eye, or a leaf, or a grain of sand, its long journey ends in a small, silent exchange of energy, a tiny moment of connection across the deep fabric of space and time. This is the story of starlight, a story both vast and intimate. We often think of stars as distant and unreachable, but the truth is that their light is touching us constantly. It reaches across the cold distances of space to warm our days, to paint our skies, to guide migrations, to nourish life through photosynthesis, to shape the very conditions that make Earth a home. Even the atoms in your body were once shaped inside stars much older than the sun. Every breath you take contains memories of celestial furnaces long extinguished. Every heartbeat carries elements forged in explosions of unimaginable brilliance. You are, in an absolutely literal sense, made of stardust, assembled from fragments of ancient light and ancient fire that found each other again in this quiet moment in the universe. Tonight, as we float through relaxing facts about stars and light, we will move slowly and gently, the way starlight moves through space. We will wander from the soft glow of young stars forming in drifting nebulae to the elegant colors encoded in light's spectrum. We will learn how photons carry secrets encoded in their wavelengths, revealing stories about temperature, distance, motion, and magnetic fields. We will drift through the comforting idea that even though the universe is vast, light threads it all together, creating a kind of silent communication between the smallest atom and the largest galaxy there is. No rush here. The universe itself is in no hurry. Stars live for billions of years, and even after they fade, their light continues traveling onward, carrying echoes of their existence across the deep, velvet dark. Light behaves in ways that feel almost like poetry bending around massive objects, stretching as the universe expands, flickering softly as it passes through Earth's atmosphere. In its simplicity, it becomes profound. In its motion, it becomes the universe's way of speaking without sound. As you listen, allow yourself to drift like a particle of light. Imagine yourself floating through a quiet nebula, past pale blue clusters of young stars, past the slow rotations of galaxies, shaped like spirals and ellipses and shimmering halos. Imagine resting on the soft edge of a cloud of cosmic dust where new stars will one day ignite. Imagine sinking into the calm dark, between galaxies where only the faintest whispers of starlight remain. In these spaces, time stretches and softens. The universe becomes gentle, almost hushed, and everything feels slow enough for relaxation to settle into your muscles, your breath, your mind. Tonight's journey is not about understanding everything at once. It is about feeling the quiet beauty of the cosmos. It is about letting the shapes of distant constellations pass through your imagination like faint ripples on a still pond. It is about releasing the day's noise and finding rest in the simple rhythm of cosmic light. So take another slow breath. Let your body settle deeper into whatever supports you. Allow your eyelids to grow heavy. The stars are waiting, patient and steady, and their light, traveling calmly across the darkness, is ready to guide you gently into sleep. 1. Starlight, as ancient time. Travel. When you look up at the night sky, even for a quiet moment, you are doing something extraordinary, without even realizing it. You are reaching backward through time. You are gathering ancient messages that have been traveling toward you across unimaginable distances, crossing the deep emptiness of space with no sound, no hurry, and no weight. These messages are made of light, the soft glow of stars that lived their entire lives without knowing you would one day open your eyes beneath them. Yet here you are tonight, resting in the gentle dark, letting these silent travelers drift into your awareness. Every star you see is not how it exists now, but how it once was. Light is the universe's most patient storyteller, and tonight we will listen to what it has carried to us. Each tiny gleam in the sky is a memory. Even the nearest star, beyond our sun, shines from more than 4 light-years away. That means the soft point of light you see in the quiet darkness left its star long before you felt your first breath. Others shine from hundreds of light-years in the past, from times when entire civilizations had not yet been imagined. Some began their journey when glaciers covered vast stretches of earth, long before human hands traced stories into clay or built fires in the ancient night. And a few, the faintest and oldest, began shining toward us when our species did not yet exist. They pierced through time with gentle persistence, a bridge from the universe's distant history into the present moment where you now rest. If you imagine the night sky as a kind of cosmic archive, each star becomes a chapter of an enormous story, written not with ink, but with radiance. Light moves so quickly that it is hard to grasp its nature, and yet it also moves so slowly, in the context of the universe, that it allows us to see the past with our own eyes. A star 1,000 light-years away is not the star of tonight, but the star of 1,000 years ago. Its light may have begun shining toward Earth when ancient philosophers wondered whether the heavens were made of crystal spheres, or when the first cities grew along the banks of early rivers. You are not simply looking into space. You are gazing into a long-vanished era, captured in a delicate stream of photons that have traveled in perfect straight lines through silent darkness until they found you here. Even now, as you relax, imagine a single photon leaving the surface of a faraway star. It has struggled upward for eons, drifting through dense layers of plasma inside the star's interior, bouncing and scattering, and slowly making its way outward. The journey through the star alone might take longer than all of human history combined. Once the photon reaches the surface, it slips into open space, freed from the star's blazing layers. From that point forward, it travels unimaginably fast, yet the distances are so immense that entire civilizations rise and fall while it glides through the void. This quiet traveler is patient. It knows nothing of rush or urgency. It simply moves forward, carrying information about where it came from, the temperature of the star, the way its atoms vibrate, the composition of its outer layers. Light is its own kind of gentle messenger, one that never grows tired or forgets its purpose. The universe stretches endlessly around us, and in that vastness, light becomes a kind of thread. It connects worlds that we'll never touch. It bridges distances that seem too enormous to imagine. Even when galaxies drift apart due to the expansion of space, their light continues to reach us, though stretched into longer and redder wavelengths. This stretching softens the light's energy, like a sigh exhaled across billions of years. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing the quiet consequences of that expansion. Colors stretched, energies softened, ancient signals reaching the last stage of their journey as they touch your eyes with gentle insistence. And what is more peaceful than the idea that the light we see is simply doing what it has always done, even long after the star itself has changed, or faded, or collapsed into something new? Its light continues its journey. Some stars we see today may no longer exist as they once did. Their images linger on, and we receive them patiently, unaware of the transformations that have already occurred. Light preserves their story in a way nothing else can. It holds a memory of moments that no longer exist, offering them to us softly, one photon at a time. This long travel through time and distance is also what gives the night sky its stillness. The stars seem frozen, unchanging, because their stories reach us in slow, measured ways. Their motions are too vast to notice. In a single lifetime, their brightness changes on scales far longer than human history. This slowness, this cosmic patience, wraps the night in a calm that matches your own deepening breath. You are lying beneath a sky that appears quiet because you are watching only the surface of ancient processes. Behind each small point of light is a churning world. Storms larger than planets, temperatures beyond imagination, magnetic fields twisting and snapping, plasma boiling and shimmering. And yet, from here, everything looks peaceful. Everything feels serene. That distance is not just physical, it is emotional, too. It brings a gentle sense of perspective, reminding you how small stresses become when compared to the calm endurance of the stars. If you focus on the soft glow of a single star, you might begin to feel how deeply connected time and light truly are. The star could be hundreds of trillions of miles away, and its light may have passed dust clouds, drifting asteroids, the edges of planetary systems, and the long emptiness between spiral arms of galaxies. Nothing stopped it. Nothing slowed it. And now, in this moment, in the quiet of your own evening, that ancient particle of light meets your eye, completing a journey it began before humans learned language or carved tools from stone. To realize this is to feel the universe's embrace, a calm reassurance that you are part of something vast and continuous. You are not separate from the stars. Their light becomes part of your vision, your memory, your inner world. You carry it with you even after you close your eyes. The glow you see in your mind as sleep approaches is a soft reminder of that connection, the universe touching you gently with its oldest stories. So as you breathe slowly, letting your body sink deeper into rest, feel the presence of that ancient light around you. Feel how quietly and patiently it travels, how gently it arrives, how effortlessly it bridges time. Tonight, the stars are not distant. They are companions. Their light is a gift from the past, arriving just in time to calm your thoughts and guide you into the deepest, most peaceful sleep. 2. The quiet birth of a star. In the vast stillness of the universe, far from the familiar warmth of our own sun, there are regions where the darkness feels almost tangible. These are the nurseries of stars, hidden inside sprawling clouds of dust and gas that drift like silent continents across the night. They stretch for light years in every direction, immense and quiet, with no sharp boundaries or obvious shapes, only soft gradients of shadow, like ink dissolving slowly into water. To look upon one of these nebulae is to witness the earliest whispers of creation, long before a star takes its first breath of fusion, long before light is born. And tonight, as you rest, we will drift gently into that darkness together. A nebula begins as something unremarkable, just atoms of hydrogen and helium, scattered loosely in space, remnants of ancient stars that exploded long ago. But even these quiet remnants are full of potential. Gravity, patient and subtle, begins its slow work. It does not rush. It does not shake or shout. It simply pulls ever so softly, drawing particles together over millions of years. Imagine dust grains that once floated freely, beginning to drift slightly toward one another, forming faint clusters, little gatherings of matter that grow slowly, invisibly, like seeds settling into soil. Inside these clouds, the temperature is so cold that molecules move with lazy, unhurried motion. The silence there is absolute. No wind, no sound waves, no rushing currents, just the serene emptiness of space where time unfolds like a long, gentle exhale. Yet beneath that stillness, the smallest movements accumulate. Every particle nudged a fraction closer, every collision releasing the tiniest breath of heat. In this way, the nebula begins to shrink and condense, almost like a sigh collapsing inward. At first, nothing seems to change. The cloud remains dark from the outside, opaque and shapeless, but deep within its hidden chambers, the density slowly increases. Clumps become cores. Cores become knots of gas that pull in more and more material. These knots are called protostars, stars that are not yet stars but have begun the long, quiet journey toward becoming one. They glow only faintly at first, warmed by the friction of their own collapse, like embers buried beneath ash. As you imagine this scene, picture yourself floating weightlessly within such a cloud. All around you is soft darkness, not frightening but comforting, like a blanket wrapped around the cosmos. The faintest glow drifts through the dust, diffused and hazy, illuminating nothing but your own slow breath. In this place, there is no sense of direction or edge, only the gentle inward pull of gravity, a lullaby sung not with sound but with the quiet certainty of physics unfolding. The collapse continues. It is a patient process measured not in years, but in millions of years longer than entire species on Earth have existed. And yet, in the grand rhythm of the universe, this is a kind of heartbeat, a single slow pulse in the life of a galaxy. As the core grows denser, the temperature at its center begins to rise. At first it warms by only a few degrees, then tens, then hundreds, and then thousands. Heat gathers like a tiny hidden flame, seeping outward through layers of gas that remain cold and dark on the surface. This warmth is not yet light. It is not the fierce brilliance we associate with stars. It is something gentler, something like the first stirring of breath in a newborn. The protostar spins slowly, pulling more material toward itself, flattening the surrounding cloud into a disk that spirals softly around it. This disk will one day give rise to planets, moons, asteroids, and comets, an entire system of worlds, orbiting the star that has not yet opened its eyes. As the protostar grows heavier, gravity tightens its grip. Each layer compresses the one beneath it. Pressure increases. Heat intensifies. Hydrogen atoms, once drifting alone in the cold of space, are pressed closer and closer until they begin to storm, move with new urgency. They vibrate, collide, and rebound in the crowded core. The temperature rises into the millions of degrees, the boundary between matter and energy beginning to blur. And finally, in a moment quiet enough to go unnoticed even by the universe itself, a threshold is crossed. Hydrogen begins to fuse. This transformation is astonishing in its simplicity. Two hydrogen nuclei merge to form helium, releasing energy in the form of light. Not just light that radiates outward, but light that fills the core with pressure, pushing outward against gravity's pull. It is this balance, gravity drawing inward, light pushing outward, that allows a star to sustain itself for billions of years. It is a delicate equilibrium, like a long-held breath, steady and quiet. The moment fusion begins, a star is born. But even then, the birth is not dramatic. There is no sound, no explosion, no flickering blaze. Instead, the star's outer layers become transparent enough for its inner light to begin radiating outward. Slowly, almost shyly, the first photons escape into space, drifting through the surrounding gas until they reach the open vacuum. The star's glow strengthens over tens of thousands of years, brightening very gradually, like dawn spreading across a horizon. What was once a silent knot of dust now shines with steady radiance, a point of warmth in the cold of the cosmos. Around it, the remaining nebula glows as well, illuminated by the newborn star's ultraviolet light. Colors emerge, soft blues and pinks and violets, like watercolor blooming across the darkness. The once invisible cloud reveals its hidden structure, arcs, filaments, and waves, shaped by gravity and light. These shapes drift and shift slowly, sculpted by the gentle pressures of radiation. Some regions form new stars, others disperse into space, carrying atoms that will one day become part of planets, oceans, and living cells. If you listen closely with your imagination, you might hear the softness of this moment, the quiet warmth spreading outward from the core, the whisper of cosmic dust reorganizing itself under the influence of light. But in truth, it is all silent, perfectly silent. Even the most energetic processes in star formation create no sound in the vacuum of space. And perhaps that is what makes it so calming to imagine. The birth of a star is one of the most powerful events in the universe, yet it unfolds with complete stillness. Tonight, as you rest, you are connected to these stellar births in ways deeper than metaphor. The atoms inside your body, your bones, your blood, the air you breathe, were once forged in stars that lived and died long before our solar system formed. The carbon that forms your cells, the oxygen you draw into your lungs, the calcium that strengthens your bones, all of it began in the heart of a star, much like the one we just imagined. You are, in a literal and beautiful sense, the result of countless stellar births and deaths across billions of years. The universe made you from its own light and dust. As you drift toward sleep, imagine yourself floating near a newborn star, watching it rise from the darkness with gentle illumination. Its warmth touches your skin softly. Its light wraps around you like a cosmic lullaby. You feel no urgency, no weight, no pressure, only the quiet comfort of knowing that even in the deepest darkness, the universe continues creating, glowing, and breathing in its slow, patient way. 3. Why stars shine with such steady grace. When you look up at the night sky and see the soft and unwavering glow of a star, it is easy to imagine that its light is effortless, as though shining were simply its nature and nothing more. Yet behind every calm point of radiance lies a profound and delicate dance, a balance so precise that it can last for billions of years without faltering. Stars shine not because they burn like fire, but because they are held in a quiet equilibrium between opposing forces, gravity pulling inward and light pushing outward. This balance is what gives them their steady grace, a kind of cosmic breathing that continues as long as the star lives. Tonight, as you rest, we will drift into the heart of that stillness and explore how such serenity emerges from forces so powerful they shape entire galaxies. Imagine a star, not from the outside, but from deep within, where the world looks nothing like the peaceful glow you see from Earth. Inside the core of a star, the temperature rises to millions of degrees, and matter is packed so tightly that individual atoms lose their identities, merging into a kind of luminous plasma. The gravitational weight of the star presses down from all sides, trying to collapse the core into an even denser state. Gravity is relentless, patient, and strong. Left to itself, it would squeeze matter tighter and tighter, pulling it toward the smallest possible volume. But in a star, gravity does not get to complete that collapse. Something else rises to meet. It's something gentle, yet immensely powerful. As hydrogen atoms are pressed together by gravity, they draw close enough to fuse. This fusion transforms them into helium, and in the process, light and heat are released. This light is not just the glow that escapes into space. Most of it is trapped inside the star's interior. These trapped photons bounce around, scattering from particle to particle, unable to escape for hundreds of thousands of years. As they do, they exert a soft but persistent pressure outward. This pressure counteracts gravity. It holds the star open, preventing collapse. The star becomes a self-balancing structure, a kind of perfect truce between inward and outward forces. And because this balance remains steady for so long, the star shines with unwavering calm. This equilibrium is called hydrostatic balance, but you don't need the term to understand the feeling behind it. It is the same sensation you experience at the perfect midpoint between tension and release, like the moment when you settle completely into a comfortable position, neither sinking nor straining. A star exists in that midpoint for most of its life. Gravity's pressure tries to pull it inward, and the star's inner light presses back, creating a slow and graceful stability that lasts for ages. The star breathes this balance in its own way, not in quick cycles like living creatures, but in the grand rhythm of cosmic time. If you could hover near such a star, you would feel the warmth of this balance radiating from its surface, not too hot at its edges, not too cold, but a perfect gradient of energy drifting outward across space. And yet, the surface of a star is far calmer than you might imagine. From afar, it looks smooth and serene. Only up close would you see the convection currents rising and falling like silent tides, hot gas lifting upward, cooling slightly, then sinking again in a ceaseless cycle. These motions contribute to the star's glow, mixing the layers in a slow, undulating rhythm. Even in its restlessness, the star's surface conveys a sense of deep calm, like the gentle rolling of waves on a distant shore. Inside, however, the star is much more alive. The core is a place of extraordinary energy. Fusion there is not a violent explosion, but a steady and controlled release of light. It is quieter, slower, and more balanced than fire. Fire consumes fuel rapidly and chaotically. Fusion is a quiet transformation, a merging of atoms into something new, producing just enough energy to keep the star open, but not enough to tear it apart. This precision is what gives stars such long lives. Our sun, for example, has been shining steadily for more than 4 billion years and will continue for about 5 billion more. Its light is not a flicker, but a slow, deep heartbeat. As the star ages, this balance shifts gently, not abruptly or dramatically, but in gradual changes so slow they might occur over millions or billions of years. When hydrogen in the core grows scarce, the star must adjust. Gravity begins to win again, pressing inward more strongly. The core compresses and heats further, increasing the rate of fusion until a new balance is found. Or perhaps the star expands into a red giant, its outer layers drifting outward in a soft, luminous bloom. Even in these changes, the star maintains a kind of grace, adjusting its structure to sustain a new equilibrium of forces. To imagine this process is to think about balance in your own life, about the quiet moments where everything feels aligned. The universe mirrors these moments on an immense scale, revealing that stability does not require stillness, but harmony between competing motions. The star shines because two great forces, gravity and light, agree to meet in perfect moderation, neither one overpowering the other. The result is a glow that can nurture worlds, warm distant planets, and guide life under its steady presence. When you lie beneath the night sky, the stars may appear small, but their steadiness fills the darkness with gentle reassurance. You are looking at the outward expression of their inner balance, the soft radiance that escapes after millions of years of scattering through their layers. By the time the light reaches you, it carries with it the memory of that balance, the echo of the star's long and tranquil endurance. It becomes a blanket of calm spread across the sky, shimmering quietly above your resting body. Even the faintest star you can see is performing this delicate balancing act, holding itself in shape through the perfect tension of physics. And even stars you cannot see, the ones buried beyond the limits of the naked eye, shine with the same determined serenity. The universe is filled with these glowing equilibria, each one maintaining its calm presence across time. They are reminders that balance is possible even when forces seem overwhelming, that steadiness can arise from tension, that light is born in the same spaces where pressure and change meet. As you breathe now, feel that same quiet balance within yourself. Let your inhale be gravity drawing in, gentle and steady. Let your exhale be the light pushing outward, soft and warm. You, too, are held in equilibrium, your body balancing pressures and rhythms without effort or command. You rest because within you, as within the stars, a harmony exists that allows everything to continue with ease. 4. The soft colors hidden in starlight. When we look at the night sky, the stars seem to shimmer with a simple, familiar whiteness. Tiny white points scattered across the darkness like grains of salt on velvet. But this simplicity is only an illusion created by distance and by the limits of our eyes. If you could drift closer, if you could float gently toward a star and watch it glow without the distortions of our atmosphere, you would see that every star carries its own quiet color, a soft and delicate hue, shaped by its temperature, its age, and the subtle physics of its light. These colors are rarely bold or loud. Instead, they remind you of the colors you see just before dawn breaks, or the faint pastels that brush the sky during the last light of evening. Tonight, as you rest, we'll drift slowly through these colors, letting them wash over you like the gentle stroke of a watercolor brush. Stars are not all the same temperature, and temperature is what gives them their color. The coolest stars glow with a deep, gentle red, like embers in a fire that has burned down to its softest glow. These stars are calm and patient, burning their fuel slowly, conserving their energy over tens of billions of years. If you approached one, its light would feel warm and muted, like the soft warmth of candlelight filtered through layers of silk. These red stars are often old, older even than the galaxies that cradle them. Their glow is a kind of cosmic whisper, a quiet reminder that the universe contains spaces where time stretches almost without end. A little warmer than these are orange stars, which shine with the calming color of late autumn leaves or the quiet glow of a lantern at dusk. Their light feels gentle yet more vibrant than the deep reds. If you rested on a planet orbiting such a star, the sky might carry a soft copper tint, giving every morning and evening a kind of tranquil golden breath. These stars live long as well, though not as long as their red companions. Their orange hue is a sign of balance, a state between the cool serenity of red stars and the bright energy of stars like our sun. Then there are yellow stars like our own sun, warming their surroundings with a radiance that feels familiar even to the imagination. Yellow stars are neither too hot nor too cool. Their light is steady and nourishing, perfect for sustaining life on orbiting worlds. If you closed your eyes and imagined sunlight on your skin, that gentle warmth, that soft golden color, is the gift of a star living in its most peaceful, stable years. It glows with the color of possibility, the hue of life and growth, steady and generous. Even warmer still are white stars, which shine with a light so pure and bright it becomes difficult to assign them a single color. Their glow is not sterile or cold, but crisp and clear, like starlight reflected on fresh snow or the glimmer of ice beneath a winter sun. These stars are more energetic, burning through their fuel faster than the yellows and oranges. Their light carries a sharpness, a focus, as if every photon is released with careful intention. Standing near one would bathe you in a brilliance that feels both cleansing and invigorating, a reminder that even the universe's coldest hues contain their own quiet warmth. But the hottest stars of all shine with a pale, ethereal blue, the rarest and most luminous of all stellar colors. Blue stars burn fiercely, though not violently, more like the controlled flame of a welder's torch than a chaotic blaze. Their light is intense but mesmerizing, a color so soft and pure that it almost seems unreal. If you could wander near such a star, you might feel as though you were floating inside a dream painted in shades of ice and starlight. These blue giants live fast and brilliant lives, burning through their fuel in only a few million years, a brief moment compared to the slow rhythms of other stars. And yet, their light travels onward long after they fade, carrying the memory of their brief brilliance across the cosmos. All these colors are woven into the night sky, though our eyes cannot always distinguish them. The Earth's atmosphere scatters and distorts the light, blending hues until most stars appear white. But if you step into the stillness of a cold night, far from city lights, you may begin to notice the subtle differences. The reddish tint of Betelgeuse, like a glowing ember suspended in the dark. The cool, blue shimmer of Rigel. The warm yellow comfort of Capella. These differences are not loud. No star screams its color across the sky. They whisper it, softly, patiently, waiting for a quiet mind to notice. These colors also tell stories. A star glowing red tells you it is cool and ancient, burning slowly and steadily in the twilight of its life. A blue star tells you it is young and passionate, burning hot and bright, shaping the space around it with intense radiation. A yellow star sits in the calm midpoint stable and nurturing, a gentle presence in the galaxy. When astronomers study the spectra of stars, splitting their light into rainbows, they can read even deeper stories. The elements the star is made of, the motions inside its atmosphere, the magnetic fields threading through its surface. Every color becomes a sentence in a cosmic language, a message encoded in wavelengths. You can imagine these colors drifting through space, each one with its own feeling, its own quiet personality. Red stars radiate warmth and patience. Orange stars feel calm and grounded. Yellow stars radiate comfort and balance. White stars feel clean and bright, like a fresh snowfall. Blue stars shimmer with the cool thrill of youth and possibility. Together, they paint the galaxy with a palette so soft and harmonious that no artist could fully capture it. As you rest, imagine yourself drifting slowly through a cluster of stars, each one glowing with its natural color. You float past a red dwarf whose light warms you gently, like holding your hands near a fading fire. A little farther, you drift through the soft golden glow of a star much like our sun, its light falling on you like a quiet embrace. Then you approach a white star whose brilliance sparkles with clarity, illuminating the darkness around you with peaceful intensity. Finally, a blue giant appears ahead of you, so luminous that its glow feels almost sacred, brushing everything in pale, ethereal shades of azure. In this gentle journey, color becomes a feeling rather than a sight. It becomes warmth, coolness, pressure, and presence. It becomes the soft rhythm of a universe that expresses itself not with noise, but with quiet gradients of light. And as you breathe slowly now, letting your body sink deeper into rest, remember that even the stars you cannot distinguish by color still carry their hues, their temperatures, their stories. They shine their true selves whether or not we can see their full beauty. There is a peacefulness in that, a reminder that not everything needs to be fully visible to be fully real. 5. Light as a cosmic messenger. When you think of light, you might imagine brightness, warmth, or the soft glow that fills your room at dawn. But light is far more than illumination. In the quiet expanse of the universe, where no sound can travel and no winds can blow, light becomes the only true messenger. It carries information with perfect silence, crossing distances so enormous that even imagination struggles to reach them. Light is how the universe speaks. It is how stars tell their stories, how galaxies reveal their shapes, and how we, resting here on a small planet, drifting through space, come to understand worlds we will never touch. Tonight, as you breathe slowly and soften into stillness, we will drift with this gentle messenger and explore the secrets it carries softly across the cosmos. Every beam of light begins as a tiny burst of energy, a photon, born from an atom or a charged particle in motion. These photons set off on journeys so vast that they might continue traveling long after the star that created them has faded. Light needs no medium, no air, no path. It glides through the emptiness with effortless precision. It never slows, never rests, and never becomes confused about where it is going. It simply moves forward, carrying with it the imprint of the place where it began. If you imagine the universe as a vast, silent ocean, then light is the gentle ripple that spreads endlessly outward from a single touch. What makes light such an extraordinary messenger is the way it encodes information. Every photon carries a color, a wavelength, that reveals temperature. The hotter the source, the shorter the wavelength. Blue light whispers of tremendous heat and energy. Yellow and white light tell of warm, stable stars. Red light carries the calm signature of cooler, older objects. Even before we observe any details of a star or galaxy, color alone can tell us what kind of world we are looking at. Light shares this truth silently, softly, and faithfully. But the message becomes even richer when astronomers spread a beam of light into its colors, forming a spectrum. They find delicate patterns etched into it. Thin, dark lines, like tiny cracks in a rainbow, appear. These lines are the fingerprints of elements: hydrogen, helium, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon. Each leaves its own unique imprint. From these subtle signatures, we learn not just the temperature of a star, but its composition, age, pressure, rotation, and even the motions occurring deep within its layers. Imagine that. A star across the galaxy, whispering its chemistry into the darkness, and light carrying that whisper across thousands of years to reach Earth, where someone gazing through a telescope can decode its meaning from the faintest shift in color. Light also tells us how objects move. When a star or galaxy drifts away from us, its light stretches into longer wavelengths, creating what we call a redshift, a soft elongation of the light's color. When something moves toward us, its light compresses into shorter wavelengths, a gentle shift toward blue. This means we can look at a galaxy so far away we can barely see it, measure the light it sends us, and know whether it is moving closer, drifting away, or spinning in its own elegant rotation. Without touching it, without hearing it, without ever approaching it, we learn its motion simply by listening to the quiet shift of its light. In this way, light becomes the universe's storyteller, speaking in a language older than planets, older than galaxies, older even than time as we understand it. Every photon that touches your eye has traveled a path filled with meaning. It might have passed through clouds of cosmic dust, gently reddening as grains scattered away its shorter wavelengths. It might have skirted past the gravity of a massive star, bending slightly as it followed the curve of space-time. It might have passed through the atmosphere of a distant planet, carrying with it the subtle signature of gases that hint at the possibility of life. Light does not just show us things, it tells us what they are, how they move, what they contain, and what they have experienced. As you rest, imagine yourself drifting beside a single photon as it leaves the surface of a star. It begins surrounded by millions of others, all born in the same brilliant flash of energy. For a moment, they scatter and collide inside the layers of the star, tumbling like tiny sparks caught in a swirling storm. But eventually, your photon escapes into open space. Suddenly, the world becomes quiet. No more collisions, no more pressure. Just endless, soft, dark stretching in every direction. The photon moves forward at the speed of light, carrying with it a precise signature, its color, its energy, its direction, all of it unchanged by time. It travels for years, then centuries, then millennia. Entire civilizations rise and fall on distant planets, while it continues onward. Stars are born, and others fade. Galaxies drift apart. Yet the photon never slows. It remembers its message perfectly. Eventually, after crossing unimaginable emptiness, it encounters a small blue world orbiting an ordinary yellow star. It enters an atmosphere filled with life and lands gently upon the retina of an eye, or the sensor of a telescope, or the leaf of a plant, releasing its message in an instant. To think about this is to realize that the night sky is not just a picture. It is not simply a scatter of points. It is an entire library of messages traveling across time, waiting patiently to be read. Each star sends light outward, in all directions, and a tiny fraction of that light finds us. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are receivers of its stories, listeners to its quiet frequencies. The universe does not speak loudly, but it speaks constantly, and light is its softest and most faithful voice. Light also connects moments that could never otherwise. Touch, A photon leaving a newborn star today may eventually be seen by beings who will exist long after we are gone. Similarly, the light we see tonight carries the memories of stars that shone before humans existed. Our lives are brief, but the photons we observe link us to eras far beyond our reach. They remind us that we are part of a continuum, woven into the long history of everything that has ever existed and everything that will ever be. As you breathe softly now, let yourself feel the calmness of this truth. Light is gentle. It does not force. It does not rush. It moves with prayer. Serene confidence, guided by rules older than time, crossing the darkness with patience so profound, it becomes soothing just to imagine. When you look at the night sky, you are bathing in messages that have traveled across the quiet universe to reach you. They carry no urgency, no demand, only presence. Only the peaceful reminder that even across the deepest emptiness, something luminous is always moving toward you. 6. The gentle dance of photons. Inside a star, the life of a photon does not begin with brightness or speed or freedom. It begins in darkness, so deep and dense that even imagination struggles to picture it. The core of a star is a place where matter is packed together so tightly that each particle has almost no room to move, where temperatures climb into the millions of degrees, and where pressure becomes so extreme that atoms themselves are stripped of their identities. It is in this hidden, invisible world that light is born, not in the open radiance we see from Earth, but in a quiet and crowded cradle of fusion and heat. Tonight, as you settle deeper into rest, we will drift into the heart of a star and follow the long, wandering journey of a photon as it searches for its way to the surface. Imagine yourself shrinking smaller and smaller, descending through the outer layers of a star. At first, everything is brilliant and tumultuous, full of bright, churning plasma. But as you move downward, the layers become thicker, hotter, denser. The light you saw at the surface fades. The glow becomes muted, then vanishes entirely, swallowed by the opacity of stellar matter. You reach a depth where photons cannot travel freely at all. Here, light is born only to be trapped, scattered, absorbed, and re-emitted over and over again. It is a place where distance loses meaning, where a photon might travel no farther than the width of a hair before colliding with a particle and changing direction. In the very center, where fusion occurs, hydrogen nuclei merge into helium, releasing energy in the form of gamma rays, high-energy photons that are far more intense than the soft light we see from Earth. These newborn photons are powerful but fragile in their own way. Surrounded by an immense sea of charged particles, they cannot travel straight, cannot soar freely. Instead, their path becomes a gentle, meandering drift, like a leaf caught in a chaotic but slow-moving current. They collide with electrons, bounce from ion to ion, are absorbed and then released again in a slightly different direction, losing a small fraction of their energy each time. What begins as a fierce burst of gamma radiation gradually becomes softer, cooler, more subdued. This wandering is incredibly slow. Though light travels at the fastest speed in the universe, these photons cannot move freely through the dense plasma. Their journey becomes a random walk, a staggering and uncertain path. Scientists estimate that for a photon to escape from the core of the Sun, it may take tens of thousands of years, or even millions. Imagine that. A particle of light begins its life deep in the heart of a star and spends an entire epoch drifting outward before finally reaching open space. By the time it emerges, civilizations may have risen and fallen, mountains may have shifted, oceans may have evaporated or returned. The photon remembers none of this. It simply continues, one collision at a time. As you picture this slow and gentle journey, let it soothe you. There is something calming in the idea that progress does not need to be quick to be meaningful. The photon's path is not rushed. It does not push or force its way through. It simply continues, trusting the nature of motion itself. Each small step brings it closer to the surface, even if that progress is almost imperceptible at first. Its journey is not defined by speed, but by persistence, by the quiet assurance that movement, no matter how subtle, eventually leads to release. Farther from the core, the density gradually decreases. The collisions become less frequent. The photon travels a little farther each time before encountering another particle. Its energy continues to soften, shifting from the harsh intensity of gamma rays to the gentler wavelengths of X-rays, then to ultraviolet light, then to visible light. It is as if the photon is cooling, slowing, mellowing, shedding its initial fierceness. By the time it approaches the star's outer layers, its energy carries a different quality, one that feels less like raw power and more like warmth, like the kind of light that nourishes planets and bathes worlds in gentle radiance. When the photon finally reaches the surface and breaks free into open space, it becomes something entirely new. After thousands or millions of years bouncing inside the star, it escapes in just over 8 minutes to Earth, if it is coming from our Sun. It has left behind the dense and crowded interior and entered open vacuum where it can finally travel straight. Here, nothing obstructs its path. No collisions, no scattering, only unbroken speed and freedom. It becomes a traveler, gliding through space with perfect clarity, carrying the memory of a long, wandering childhood deep within a star. If you could ride alongside a photon as it leaves a star, you would feel a profound stillness. Space is silent. There is no sound for light to carry. There is no friction to slow it. The photon travels with the purest kind of motion, effortless, smooth, continuous. It does not age. It does not tire. It exists in a kind of eternal present, always moving but never changing, always traveling but never experiencing time in the way we understand it. The journey from star to planet is, in its own way, a kind of meditation. As you rest, imagine yourself drifting alongside this photon, moving through the darkness with gentle certainty. There is no need to rush. The pace is perfect. The path is smooth. The vastness of space wraps around you like a calm, endless sea. Stars glitter in the distance, each one the origin of countless other photons, undertaking their own long journeys. Together they fill the universe with delicate threads of light, creating a tapestry of stories, colors, and memories. The photon does not know where it is going or who will receive its final message. It does not choose its path. It simply follows the fabric of space-time, guided by the laws that shaped the cosmos long before light ever existed. And yet, this lack of intention does not diminish its purpose. Whether the photon warms the surface of a planet, nourishes a leaf through photosynthesis, becomes part of a rainbow after passing through a raindrop, or lands on the retina of a resting human gazing at the night sky, its journey fulfills itself through presence alone. In this way, the photon becomes a teacher of gentleness. It shows us that movement can be soft, that transformation can be patient, that brightness can emerge from the quietest and slowest beginnings. It reminds us that long paths are still paths, and that even when progress is hidden inside complexity, each step carries us closer to clarity. Now, as your breath becomes slow and steady, imagine that the photon you're following has reached Earth. It slips through the atmosphere, perhaps bending slightly as it passes through layers of air of different densities. It glides toward you, touches your skin or your eyelid, or simply warms the space around you. Its journey across thousands or millions of years resolves in this single peaceful moment. You are the final chapter of its long and gentle dance. 7. Stars whispering through spectra. When you look at a star, its light seems so simple, just a soft glow, steady and unbroken, shining calmly against the night. It is easy to imagine that this glow carries no complexity, that it is nothing more than brightness traveling across the vast emptiness of space. But starlight, gentle as it appears, contains stories woven so delicately into its wavelengths that the universe itself becomes readable through them. A star whispers through its spectrum, telling us who it is, what it is made of, how hot it burns, how fast it spins, and whether it is moving toward us or drifting away. Every beam of light is a message, and tonight, as you rest comfortably, we will move slowly through this hidden language, the language written in color. Imagine taking the soft glow of a star and spreading it out into a long rainbow. At first, you would see all the familiar hues: red deepening into orange, orange softening into gold, gold blooming into green, green fading into blue, and blue melting into violet. This rainbow, delicate and continuous, is the essence of the star's voice. But look closer, and you would notice something strange. The rainbow is not smooth. Tiny dark lines interrupt it here and there, thin, quiet gaps where color seems to disappear. These lines are not random. They occur at precise places, like punctuation marks in a cosmic sentence. These are spectral lines, and each one corresponds to an element inside the star. Hydrogen leaves its signature in certain places. Helium leaves its imprint in others. Oxygen, sodium, calcium, iron, all leave quiet traces behind. When light passes through the atmosphere of a star or is emitted from its hot surface, atoms within that star absorb specific wavelengths. Each atom absorbs only the colors that match the energies its electrons can transition between. These missing colors appear as dark lines when we spread the light out, forming a pattern unique to each element. In this way, light becomes a map of a star's chemistry, a soft encyclopedia written in wavelengths instead of words. As you relax, imagine drifting through a quiet observatory late at night. Outside, the stars shimmer gently, and inside, a prism or a diffraction grating splits their light into these thin, beautiful rainbows. Astronomers stand silently, their eyes tracing the delicate patterns of dark lines. To them, each line is a whisper from the star. I contain hydrogen. I was forged with helium. I hold traces of oxygen. I burn with iron in my core. The star does not speak aloud, yet its spectrum tells everything, and the message does not stop with elements. Spectra also reveal temperature. A hotter star shifts its brightest part of the spectrum into bluer wavelengths. A cooler star shifts toward red. This shift is smooth, gentle, like the warmth or coolness of a candle flame. Even if the star were too far away to measure directly, its light alone would tell the truth of its heat. Light is honest. It does not hide its origins. If you were to drift closer to a star and look at its spectrum again, you might notice that the lines change shape slightly. Some become broader and thicker. This broadening comes from motion within the star, churning gases, convection currents rising and falling, rotation pulling the surface in different directions. These motions stretch the spectral lines in subtle ways. A rapidly spinning star produces wider lines because the light from one side is slightly red-shifted, while the light from the opposite side is slightly blue-shifted. This creates a small but measurable smear in the pattern. Even without seeing the star's rotation, the proof spectrum whispers it gently. Motion through space leaves its signature too. If a star moves away from us, its light stretches, and the entire spectrum shifts toward red. If it moves toward us, the spectrum shifts toward blue. This Doppler effect allows us to measure motion with incredible delicacy. A star could be drifting away at just a few meters per second, slower than a walking human, and its light would reveal that motion with perfect precision. Light misses nothing. It shares every detail, no matter how soft. Now imagine yourself floating through space, holding a prism in your hands. You tilt it toward a nearby star, and a thin band of color spills out, trembling slightly in the vacuum. The colors shimmer, and inside them, the tiny dark lines quiver with meaning. You move gently toward another star, and its spectrum reveals a different pattern. No two stars share exactly the same set of lines. Even stars with nearly identical temperatures and sizes will contain slight differences in composition. You could drift through the galaxy forever, collecting these rainbow messages, and each one would tell you a new story of formation, of age, of life cycles and transformations unfolding silently over billions of years. There is something peaceful in the idea that light carries so much information so quietly. The universe does not shout. It does not force its secrets upon us. It reveals them slowly, delicately, waiting for someone patient enough to look, to listen, to spread the starlight into its hidden layers. In this way, science becomes a form of meditation, a calm and gentle act of noticing. Even more remarkable is the fact that spectral lines allow us to study worlds we cannot see directly. When a planet passes in front of its star, starlight filters through the planet's atmosphere. The atmosphere absorbs some wavelengths, leaving additional dark lines in the spectrum. From these, we learn what gases surround that distant world: nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide. Light becomes a messenger, carrying the signature of planets across light years of space. It is as if the universe is handing us little envelopes of information, sealed in wavelengths, waiting for us to open them carefully. Sometimes these spectral lines reveal surprises. A star may contain elements heavier than expected, whispering that it was born. In a region enriched by ancient supernovae, another star may show unusual motion, hinting at an unseen companion tugging at it gravitationally. A cluster of stars may share the same chemical fingerprints, proving that they were born together from the same cloud of gas. Light writes all of this into its spectrum with quiet precision. As you breathe slowly now, imagine starlight flowing across the cosmos, carrying these messages with remarkable patience. Some photons slip past the edges of planets. Some drift through clouds of interstellar dust. Some are bent slightly by gravity as they pass, near massive objects. And through it all, the information remains intact, woven gently into the wavelengths. When you see a star twinkling in the night sky, you are not just seeing brightness. You are witnessing a message that has traveled across time and space, encoded in ways nearly invisible to the eye, but full of meaning to anyone who knows how to look. The universe is full of stories, and light is the way it tells them, softly, persistently, beautifully. Let this thought lull you. Every star you pass, every shimmer above you, every faint glimmer on the horizon is speaking in color, not loudly, not urgently, just softly, steadily, like a whisper meant to calm the wandering mind. 8. Why the night sky is dark. When night settles over the world and the last traces of daylight slip beneath the horizon, the sky opens like a quiet doorway into the cosmos. You look upward, and the darkness feels vast, soft, and endless. Stars prickle gently against the blackness, their tiny lights scattered like whispers across a velvet sea. But perhaps you've wondered, in some quiet part of your mind, why the night sky is dark at all. After all, if the universe is filled with countless, Stars more than we can imagine. Shouldn't the sky glow everywhere, in every direction, with the combined light of all those distant suns? Why does it remain a calming, restful black, deep and cool? A place where thought can drift and the mind can soften. Tonight, as you breathe slowly and weigh, relax deeper into stillness, we will explore this quiet paradox, letting the explanation unfold like a gentle tide. For many centuries, thinkers puzzled over this mystery. They imagined that if the universe were infinite and filled evenly with stars, then every line of sight, no matter where it pointed, would eventually fall upon a star's surface. In such a universe, the sky should blaze with unbearable brightness, every direction filled with light as intense as the surface of the sun. And yet, when we step outside at night, we find no such brilliance. Instead, we find peace dark, embracing, serene. This puzzle became known as Olber's paradox, a simple question with a deeply soothing answer. The night sky is dark not because the universe lacks stars, but because the universe has a story, one that is still unfolding. The first part of this story is the most gentle. The universe is not infinite in age. It had a beginning. Stars have not been shining forever. Light takes time to travel, and there are places so distant that their light has not yet reached us, like messages sent from far-off friends who have not yet arrived. This means the darkness you see is not emptiness or absence. It is distance. It is time. It is the quiet space between messages that are still on their way. As you gaze into the night, you are looking into depths where the light has not yet arrived, where the universe is still stretching out its luminous threads. The darkness is a promise of future starlight, still traveling across the expanding cosmos. And that leads us to the next part of the story. The universe is expanding. Every moment, galaxies drift farther away from one another, carried by the slow swelling of space itself. As galaxies recede, the light they send stretches, its wavelengths lengthening like a gentle yawn. Light that might have once glowed visibly now drifts into infrared, into microwaves, into radio waves, softening, cooling, slipping beyond the reach of human eyes. The darkness between the stars is not truly dark. It is filled with light, stretched so far that it no longer shines within the narrow band our eyes can perceive. In a sense, the night sky is glowing everywhere, but in wavelengths too large and too calm for us to see. It is like a lullaby sung in tones too low for the waking mind, but perfect for easing the drifting soul. Another part of the story is dust. Between stars lie clouds of cosmic dust, tiny grains made of carbon, silicates, and the fragments of ancient, exploded suns. These grains are small, finer than smoke, drifting quietly through space. They absorb light, especially the bluer, shorter wavelengths, turning them into heat. The dust glows faintly in infrared, but again, this is light our eyes cannot detect. The dust thickens the shadows between stars, softening their brightness, letting the night darken into a tranquil tapestry where only the brightest lights remain visible. Without this dust, the night would be lighter, harsher, less gentle. The darkness we see is partly the calm shadow of ancient matter, filtering the glow of the cosmos. But perhaps the most soothing reason of all is this: stars themselves are not eternal. They are born, they shine, and they fade. They are scattered across time as much as they are scattered across space. The light we see at night is only a fraction of the starlight that has ever existed, and only a whisper of the starlight still to come. The universe is young enough that darkness remains, stretching between pockets of illumination, giving our night sky its restful, quiet beauty. If the universe were infinitely old, every star would have burned out, or new stars would have filled every shadow, leaving no space for darkness. But we live in a universe with room for both light and shadow. both radiance and rest. As you breathe softly, imagine yourself floating in the quiet of intergalactic space. Around you, galaxies shimmer like distant, delicate lanterns, but the space between them is vast and silent, filled with darkness that feels cool and comforting. You drift weightlessly, wrapped in a cosmic calm, aware that every direction contains stars, but not yet enough to fill the sky entirely with light. The universe is spacious, generous, with its shadows. It gives each star room to shimmer gently, without overwhelming the mind with brilliance. Think also of the night sky, not as darkness, but as depth. The blackness is not empty. It is full of potential, full of light still traveling, full of stories not yet told. Every dark patch of sky is a future constellation waiting to be seen, a distant galaxy whose message has not reached us, a quiet corridor where the universe continues to expand in silence. When you look into the darkness, you are looking into time itself, into the echo of the universe's earliest moments, into places where matter has yet to come together and shine. And in a more intimate sense, the darkness is what allows us to see the stars clearly at all. Without it, their glow would be place, drowned out, lost in brightness. Darkness is the canvas on which starlight paints its serene, delicate patterns. The calm black sky gives the stars their place, their contrast, their meaning. It gives our minds a place to rest, a place to soften, a place to breathe. Without darkness, the night would not soothe us. It would overwhelm us. Instead, the universe offers a balance, a gentle interplay between illumination and shadow, between presence and absence. As your body relaxes further, let the darkness of the night sky feel like a soft blanket around you, not frightening or empty, but warm and quiet. The darkness is not a void. It is a cradle, holding the light gently, keeping it from flooding the senses, allowing every star to shine distinctly. In this way, the night becomes a tender place, a place where thought slows, where breath deepens, where sleep begins to gather softly, at the edges of awareness. So the night sky is dark, because the universe is growing, because light takes time to cross its vastness, because dust gently filters the glow, and because stars themselves are scattered across a history still unfolding. The darkness is not a failure of light, but part of its story. It is the quiet between cosmic heartbeats. 9. The Milky Way as a river of stars. When you step outside on a clear, moonless night, far from the soft glow of cities and lamps, the sky opens into something so gentle and ancient that for a moment it takes your breath in its hands. There, stretching from one horizon to the other, lies a faint, milky band, a soft river of light flowing through the darkness. This is the Milky Way, our home galaxy seen from within, a vast congregation of stars, so numerous and so distant that their light blends into a single, luminous stream. To watch, it is to feel yourself drifting at the edge of something immeasurable, something calm and eternal, something that hums quietly beneath the surface of everything you know. Tonight, as you breathe slow and steady, we will drift along this river of stars, letting its gentle glow guide us deeper into rest. From the surface of Earth, the Milky Way appears delicate, a thin veil stretched across the sky. But what you see is only a sliver of its true form. Our galaxy is a sprawling spiral of hundreds of billions of stars, curling gracefully like a cosmic whirlpool across more than 100,000 light-years. Our solar system sits tucked inside one of its quieter arms, far from the crowded center, in a peaceful region where stars drift with patient motion. When you gaze upward, you are looking edge-on into this spiral, peering through layer upon layer of starlight, dust, and memory. Imagine floating far beyond Earth, rising into the silence of space until the sky darkens completely and the atmosphere loosens its hold on the world below. As you ascend, the Milky Way appears more clearly, its river of stars sharpening into countless points, its hazy glow resolving into billions of suns. They cluster like glowing grains of sand scattered across a great curved beach. Each one is its own world, its own story, its own quiet flame burning in the vastness. And yet, even in its immensity, the Milky Way remains gentle. Its spiral arms do not twist violently. They drift, almost like soft currents in a still pond. Stars rotate around the galactic center in slow, sweeping arcs that take hundreds of millions of years to complete. This motion is so steady, so deeply patient, that our entire species occupies only the briefest moment of a single galactic orbit. The galaxy moves, but it does so in the same unhurried rhythm that carries a leaf down a quiet stream, guided by forces that have shaped space for billions of years. If you picture yourself drifting along this river, imagine moving past regions where new stars are forming great clouds of gas lit, softly from within, by the faint glow of newborn suns. These nurseries shimmer in gentle hues of blue and pink, the colors of hydrogen gas warmed by ultraviolet light. At their edges, dark tendrils of dust reach outward like slow-moving currents, twisting and coiling with serene elegance. These clouds are the birthplace of stars, but from a distance they appear peaceful, like fog rolling through a silent valley. Drift a little farther, and you would find clusters of stars bound together by gravity, tight gatherings of hundreds or thousands of suns glowing close enough to share their light. These clusters move through the galaxy like small families drifting along the current. Some are young and bright, their stars white and blue, shining with the fresh energy of youth. Others are ancient, filled with red and orange stars whose cores burn slowly, like embers in a quiet fire. Each cluster carries the history of its birth cloud, the echoes of a time when its stars emerged together in a single cosmic breath. But the Milky Way is not only a river of stars, it is a river of dust as well, fine clouds of carbon and silicate grains that weave through the spiral arms like drifting smoke. This dust, though faint, plays a gentle role in shaping what we see. It absorbs starlight, softening the glow, darkening certain regions, and creating the mottled patterns that give the Milky Way its texture. Without this dust, the sky would be brighter, but less calming. The dust creates shadows, layers, depth. It allows the river of light to feel mysterious, ancient, soothing. If you traveled closer to the center of the galaxy, you would find the stars growing denser. The soft trickle of light becomes a bright, crowded blaze. The central bulge glows with golden radiance, full of old stars that have lived through countless galactic cycles. These stars orbit the supermassive black hole at the heart of the Milky Way, a silent presence millions of times more massive than our Sun. It does not pull the galaxy like a whirlpool. It simply anchors it, giving the center a quiet gravitational heart. Around it, stars move in smooth, graceful paths, their motion a kind of cosmic waltz that has continued for billions of years. Yet even here, at the galaxy's core, there is no chaos in the way we imagine. Everything moves according to gentle gravitational curves, flowing like a slow dance. Time stretches differently here. Motion feels fluid, almost meditative. The center glows with intensity, but from afar, that glow looks soft, hazy, like a lantern seen through morning mist. As you drift back outward along the spiral arms, you come again to regions of calm, where fewer stars shine and more darkness fills the spaces between them. These are the quiet outskirts, where our Sun resides. Here, The sky is not crowded. Stars are spaced far apart, allowing planets to form and life to grow in stable orbits. This calm region is our home, a peaceful neighborhood. In a vast galactic river, when you stand beneath the night sky and look at the Milky Way, you see all of these layers blended into a single, soft glow. You see the light of stars so distant their individual points merge, creating a luminous band shaped by the curve of our viewpoint. You also see the shadows of dust clouds blocking the light behind them, carving dark lanes into the glowing ribbon. The result is not brightness, but balance, a gentle interplay between light and shadow, clarity and mystery. There is something deeply comforting in this view. The Milky Way reminds us that we belong to something immense but welcoming, not a chaotic or violent universe, but a vast, flowing structure that carries worlds along its arms like leaves drifting on a slow-moving stream. We are not separate from it. We are inside it, embraced by it, shaped from its stars, warmed by their light, sustained by their history. As your breath deepens and your body sinks into rest, imagine the Milky Way flowing silently above you, a river so vast that it spans the sky, yet so gentle that it invites calm rather than awe. Each star in that river sends its light across unimaginable distances to reach you. Each one contributes a tiny drop to the shimmering band you see. Together, they form a pathway of light that guides your thoughts into softness, into ease, into dreams. 10. Starlight that bends. When you look up at the night sky and let your eyes drift over the stars, the light seems to travel in straight, perfect lines. It appears to come from its source with gentle honesty, moving through space without wavering or wandering. But in truth, the journey of starlight is far more fluid, more delicate, more intricate than it seems. Light does not always travel in straight paths. It can curve, soften, bend, and arc around massive objects, following not a rigid track, but the shape of space-time itself. Tonight, as you settle deeper into your breath and let your thoughts slow into a quiet rhythm, we will drift gently into this phenomenon, gravitational lensing, and the way the sighted die. Universe becomes a natural, silent lens, bending light with calm precision. To understand why starlight bends, imagine the fabric of the universe as something soft and pliable, like a sheet of silk stretched across a still frame. Every object with mass, every star, planet, cloud of gas, galaxy presses down gently on this silk, creating a small dimple or curve in the fabric. The larger the mass, the deeper the curve. If you rolled a tiny marble across this silk, it would not move in a straight line. It would follow the dip, arcing smoothly around the object that bends the fabric. Light behaves in much the same way. Though it has no mass, it follows the curves in space-time, created by massive objects. It does not resist. It does not strain. It simply moves along the shape of the universe with natural ease. Imagine a distant star sitting far beyond a massive galaxy. The light from that star travels outward in all directions. As it reaches the galaxy's gravity bends space-time around it. The light, following that curvature, arcs gently, almost like a stream of water flowing around a smooth stone. To an observer on Earth, the bent light may appear to come from a slightly different direction than its true origin. Sometimes, the light bends so perfectly it creates a ring, a soft, glowing circle, known as an Einstein ring. Other times it forms arcs, delicate streaks of brightness stretched across the dark, like the shimmer of moonlit water on a calm lake. This bending of light reveals something profound. The universe is not rigid. It does not behave like a static, motionless stage on which events unfold. It is flexible, responsive, and deeply interconnected. A galaxy millions of light years away can influence the path of light that travels near it, shaping the view of objects behind it. That means when you look through a telescope and see a faint arc or a distorted smear of light, you are witnessing not just the distant galaxy itself, but the curvature of space carved by mass. You are seeing the universe bend gently under its own weight. Even in its complexity, gravitational lensing feels peaceful. It is not a violent bending, not a sudden twist. It is subtle and quiet, a slow redirection of light that has been moving for billions of years. The photon does not struggle as it arcs. It glides with perfect trust in the geometry around it, adjusting its course without hesitation. There is something soothing in this idea that even light, the fastest thing in existence, is willing to follow a gentle curve when the universe guides it. If you imagine yourself drifting in space near a massive galaxy cluster containing hundreds or thousands of galaxies bound together by their collective gravity, you would not see chaos. Instead, you would see a soft, luminous fog of starlight smeared into delicate arcs around the cluster. These arcs are the stretched images of even more distant galaxies, their light bent on its way toward you. The cluster becomes a great cosmic magnifying glass, enhancing what lies behind it, revealing faint structures that would otherwise remain invisible. In this way, gravitational lensing allows us to see deeper into the universe than we could ever see on our own. Lensing effect uncovers galaxies whose light is too soft, too dim to reach us directly. It pulls the distant into the present, letting us witness ancient regions of the cosmos. Even more astonishing is that gravitational lensing can reveal hidden matter, dark matter, the invisible substance that makes up most of the universe's mass. Dark matter does not shine or absorb light, yet it bends space-time. When astronomers observe lensing patterns that do not match the visible matter in a region, they know there must be additional mass shaping the curvature. In this way, the universe uses light to outline its own invisible architecture, tracing the quiet presence of matter that cannot be seen. Starlight becomes a gentle guide, flowing around unseen shapes and revealing them softly through its motion. Imagine drifting near one of these arcs of light. It curves across the darkness like a shimmering ribbon, stretched by gravity into a delicate crescent. You cannot hear it or feel it, but you sense the elegance of its form, the way it follows the slope of space-time without resistance. It reminds you of the way water flows through a landscape, guided by contours it did not choose, but embraces all the same. Light is not rigid. It listens. It adjusts. It yields to the shape of the universe with perfect serenity. Closer to home, even starlight passing near our sun bends slightly, curving just a tiny bit as it brushes past the sun's gravity. The effect is small, but it was this subtle bending that provided the first observational proof of Einstein's theory of general relativity. During a solar eclipse in 1919, astronomers photographed stars whose apparent positions shifted slightly when their light passed near the darkened sun. The universe revealed, in that quiet moment, the truth of its flexibility. Even ordinary starlight carries this signature, bending just enough to show that gravity is not a force pulling objects together, but the soft shaping of space itself. As you breathe slowly now, imagine the entire universe as a great, silent landscape of curves and contours, with light flowing through it like a breeze. It travels effortlessly, adjusting its path with gentle obedience to the geometry it encounters. And you are part of this landscape, made of the same matter that carves these curves, shaped by the same forces that guide the stars and galaxies. Even your body bends space-time, very slightly, creating a tiny indentation in the cosmic fabric. You, too, are part of the quiet shaping of the universe. There is peace in the idea that nothing moves alone. Every object, influences the path of light, and every path of light tells a story about what lies between the source and the observer. The bending of starlight is a reminder that the universe is interconnected in ways we cannot always see, but can always feel if we listen closely. It tells us that the cosmos is not cold or indifferent. It is responsive, flowing, alive with gentle curvature. 11. The subtle flicker of distant suns. When you gaze up at the night sky, each star appears steady, almost unwavering in its glow. But far beyond what the eye can see, many of these stars are not shining with perfect constancy. They dim and brighten in the gentlest of rhythms. Small fluctuations, so soft they vanish into the background of human perception. Yet these faint flickers carry profound meaning. They reveal hidden worlds, planets, circling distant suns, moving quietly in orbits older than memory. Tonight, as your breath settles into a slow, peaceful rhythm, we will drift into the delicate art of listening to these faint changes in starlight, letting their soft pulses guide us deeper into calm. Imagine a distant star, hundreds of light years away. From where you rest, it looks like a tiny pinprick against an endless black canvas. But around that star, unseen by your eyes, might be a planet gently gliding along its orbit. As it passes between the star and us, it blocks a minute fraction of the star's light, just a tiny shadow, like a grain of dust drifting across a lantern. This shadow is so small that the star's brightness might decrease by only 1%, or even less. Yet to the patient senses of telescopes, that little dip becomes a whisper in the dark, a message revealing the presence of a world. This is the transit method, one of the most delicate discoveries in modern astronomy. It relies not on seeing the planets themselves, but on noticing how they soften starlight for a brief moment. The universe does not broadcast these signals loudly. It offers them gently, faint clues tucked into the shimmering glow. And astronomers listen with stillness, waiting for the star to blink ever so slightly. When it does, they know that a planet has crossed its surface. From our perspective, a soft, silent announcement of another world, circling in the cosmic sea. Imagine floating near such a star, watching its planet trace a smooth curve across its face. The star's glow wraps around the edges of the planet like a halo, softening as the world passes before it. From this close vantage, the dimming is clear, but from Earth, it becomes a shift so slight we could never notice it unaided. Still, that flicker carries meaning. It reveals the size of the planet. The deeper the dip, the larger the world. It reveals the length of its year, how long it takes to complete one orbit. It reveals the distance from the star, how close its path winds around the glowing center. With each flicker, the star speaks, and light becomes the translator. Sometimes, the brightness dips regularly, every few days, or weeks, or months. Each dip marks the planet's return, the soft rhythm of its orbit. It is like the beat of a cosmic heart, reliable and patient. Over time, astronomers trace these patterns, building a picture of the planetary system. Some stars have one planet, some have many. Some have large gas giants skimming close to their surface, glowing like embers from their star's heat. Others possess small, rocky worlds, quiet, Earth-sized places, where light falls softly on imagined landscapes. But the star's flicker reveals even more. As the planet passes in front of its star, some of the starlight slips through the planet's atmosphere before reaching us. That light carries the fingerprint of whatever gases are present: hydrogen, water vapor, methane, nitrogen. Astronomers spread this light into a spectrum, reading its tiny gaps and patterns, deciphering the atmospheric chemistry of a world we cannot see directly. In this way, the flicker of a star does not just reveal that a planet exists, It hints at what that planet is like, whether its skies are thick or thin, whether clouds drift through its upper layers, whether its atmosphere is warm or cold. Each flicker becomes a clue, a note in a quiet song sung across the universe. Some worlds revealed through this method are scorching, their surfaces glowing from heat. Some are frozen, circling dim stars in distant orbits. Some reside in the gentle warmth of a habitable zone, where temperatures might allow oceans to form silent blue expanses that catch starlight like mirrors. We do not yet know what these worlds truly look like, or whether life stirs in their hills and valleys, but the starlight carries hints, promising that their stories are waiting to be heard. Not all flickers come from planets. Some arise from the stars themselves. Stars pulse and change, their surfaces rising and falling like the slow breath of a sleeping giant. These changes are often rhythmic, soft oscillations that reveal the inner structure of the star. Just as listening to the tone of a bell can tell you about its shape and thickness, listening to the small shifts in a star's brightness can tell you about its size, density, and even its age. These stellar pulsations are like echoes from the star's hidden chambers. They help astronomers understand how stars grow, how they age, and how they eventually fade. But through all these variations, planetary transits, stellar oscillations, gentle dimmings and brightenings, one thing remains constant: the quietness. Light does not burst with its messages, it whispers them. It sends them softly through the emptiness, where they travel for years or centuries before reaching us. When that light finally arrives, it is fragile, delicate, almost shy. And yet, from such fragility, entire worlds emerge in our understanding. As you breathe slowly now, feel the calm rhythm in your own body, the rise and fall of your chest, the gentle beat of your heart. These rhythms mirror the rhythms in the stars. The flickers and pulses of distant suns are not so different from the quiet changes within you. Both are natural, both are steady, both carry information about life unfolding. In this way, the universe feels less distant, less foreign. Its patterns echo in us, and ours echo in it. Imagine now that you are drifting near a star whose brightness dips just slightly at regular intervals. You watch the planet swing across it, a small, dark silhouette, gliding gracefully in the star's radiant glow. Each time it crosses, the light dims, then brightens again, like a calm, cosmic blinking. The star continues, shining with serene patience, its flicker barely noticeable unless you watch carefully, unless you slow your mind enough to sense the change. And you do. You notice. You feel the rhythm. It soothes you, as though the star itself is breathing, inviting you to match its calm pace. The idea that entire worlds can be discovered from such gentle flickers is deeply comforting. We don't need loud signals or blazing beacons to learn about the universe. We only need stillness, patience, and the willingness to listen to light. In the softness of a star's dimming, we find new planets. In the slight quiver of its brightness, we learn its inner structure. Light is quiet, but the silence is full of meaning. So let this thought cradle you as you sink deeper into rest. Even the faintest flicker of starlight carries stories across impossible distances. It carries secrets of planets and atmospheres, of motions and rhythms, of ancient worlds waiting in the dark. And that starlight, after traveling so far, arrives gently, touching you softly, inviting you into the vast, peaceful expanse of the cosmos. 12. Why stars twinkle in the quiet air. When you lie beneath the night sky and gaze upward, the stars appear to shimmer gently, each point flickering with a soft and almost playful motion. This twinkling delicate and calming, gives the night a living quality, as though the sky itself is breathing in quiet rhythms. Yet the stars themselves do not flicker. If you were able to drift above the Earth's atmosphere, out into the stillness of space, you would see them shine with steady, unwavering brilliance. The twinkling is something that happens here, close to home, a subtle dance between starlight and the moving layers of air that surround our world. Tonight, as your breath deepens and your thoughts soften, we will drift slowly through the atmosphere to understand why stars twinkle and why their gentle shimmer feels so soothing. Imagine that starlight has been traveling for hundreds or thousands of years, crossing the vast emptiness of space without interruption. It has moved in perfect straight lines, untouched by wind, unaffected by temperature, gliding gracefully through the vacuum. Then, in the final split second of its long journey, it enters the thin veil of air surrounding Earth. Here, in this fragile and shifting boundary, the photon meets turbulence, currents, and layers of air at different temperatures. The atmosphere becomes a kind of living lens, bending and shimmering with motion. The air above you is never still. It rises and falls in gentle waves, shifts with pockets of warmth and coolness, and swirls in patterns too delicate to see. Each pocket of air has a slightly different density, and when starlight passes through these pockets, its path bends ever so slightly. One moment, the air might warm and expand, altering the light's direction. The next, it might cool and contract, shifting it again. To your eye, these tiny changes create a flicker, a soft flutter of brightness, a subtle movement of color. The star dances because the atmosphere ripples, like moonlight shimmering on a pond stirred by a light breeze. As you imagine this, picture yourself lying in an open field, watching the stars through a thin veil of moving air. The starlight reaches you from unimaginable distances, and yet it feels intimate in this moment, softened by the very air you breathe. The atmosphere becomes a collaborator in the night's calm beauty, taking the steady glow of stars and turning it into something that feels alive, fluttering, breathing, shimmering. The twinkling also changes with the star's position in the sky. Stars near the horizon appear to twinkle more because their light passes through more air, more layers, more turbulence, more shifting pockets of temperature. Stars high above your head pass through less atmosphere, so their flicker is subtler. And if the air is calm still from a cold winter night or a moment of gentle weather, the stars may flicker only faintly, their steadiness soothing in its own right. In this way, the atmosphere becomes a quiet storyteller, shaping the starlight depending on mood and weather, creating a different experience each night. There is something deeply comforting in knowing that twinkling is not a flaw or a disruption, but a natural expression of Earth's living atmosphere. It is an interaction, a meeting between celestial light and earthly air. The universe sends light with perfect steadiness, and the Earth accepts it with softness, adding its own signature to the glow. The result is a kind of cosmic handshake, a blending of worlds, a quiet collaboration between what is beyond and what is here. If you were to rise above the atmosphere, perhaps drifting in a spacecraft or floating gently in orbit, the stars would no longer twinkle. They would appear sharp and still, shining with unwavering clarity against the blackness of space. Some might find that steadiness beautiful, but others would miss the tender flicker of starlight seen from Earth. There is something magical in the shimmer, something soothing and alive. It reminds us that we are part of the scene, our atmosphere shaping the beauty we observe. Even the colors of the twinkle carry meaning, as the air bends the light differently at each moment. Shorter wavelengths like blue and green may scatter or shift more strongly, while longer wavelengths like red shift less. This creates tiny flashes of color that leave a star's light with gentle hints of blue, red, and yellow. These subtle changes are too faint to study with the naked eye, but they contribute to the sense of motion and life in each glimmer. The star becomes a tiny lantern whose flame seems to flutter, even though its source burns with steady fusion far beyond our reach. As you breathe slowly now, let the idea of twinkling stars settle into your mind as something gentle and natural. The flicker is not random. It is not chaotic. It is the soft signature of Earth's atmosphere, a reminder that you are living inside a delicate, protective shell of air. It is the same air that lets you breathe, that carries birds across the sky, that turns sunlight into warm breezes. At night, it becomes an artist, brushing motion into starshine. And there is something poetic in realizing that such a small effect, the bending of light by thin, shifting layers of air, can bring so much beauty. The universe is full of enormous, powerful events. Yet some of its most soothing sights come from the tiniest interactions. A star flickers not because of anything distant or violent, but because of the gentle motion of the air just above your head. The universe meets you where you are, transforming steady light into calming shimmer. As you lie back and imagine the stars twinkling softly above you, feel how the rhythm matches your own transitions, the small shifts in your breath, the gradual quieting of your thoughts, the slight flutter of your awareness as you drift closer to sleep. The cosmos does not rush. It allows subtlety, softness, and gentle variations. And you, too, are allowed to soften, allowed to flicker gently between states of wakefulness and rest, allowed to drift slowly into the quietness that awaits you. So the next time you look at the night sky, let the twinkling stars remind you of this. Even after traveling across unimaginable distances, starlight arrives with grace, shaped in its final moment by the tender breath of Earth's air. The shimmer you see is a collaboration, a delicate merging of worlds. And in that shimmering, the night sky becomes something more than just a view. It becomes a calming presence, a gentle companion to your quiet thoughts. 13. The long, slow life of a star. When you look at a star shimmering gently in the night sky, it's easy to imagine it as something eternal, an unchanging point of light that has always been there and always will be. But stars live lives, long and patient, unfolding across spans of time so vast, they make entire civilizations seem like brief flickers. Their lives move through stages that feel almost like breaths in the quiet rhythm of the cosmos, slow expansions, gentle contractions, calm stability, and graceful transformations. Tonight, as your own breath deepens and your body settles further into rest, we will drift slowly through the life of a star, letting its long story cradle you into deeper stillness. Imagine a star at its very beginning, newly born from a gentle collapse of gas within a nebula. It glows softly, not yet with the brilliant steadiness of maturity, but with the warm flicker of youth. Hydrogen fuses into helium in its core, and for the first time, the star steps into balanced gravity pulling inward, pressure from light pushing outward. This is the quiet heart of a star's life, the long and steady middle chapter where it shines with calm, unwavering radiance. For most stars, this stage lasts billions of years, a span so long that even mountains rising and wearing down on planets orbiting nearby would occur in the blink of a stellar lifetime. Our own sun, peaceful and warm, is in this stable phase now. It is neither young nor old, simply living in its long middle years, providing the gentle glow that sustains the world below. Its light falls on oceans, forests, and fields, becoming the energy that nurtures life. This calm phase is where stars spend most of their existence, giving the universe its soft, steady illumination. For billions of years, A star simply breathes, fusion at its core, radiance drifting outward, warmth spreading across the emptiness. But even in this stability, the star is slowly changing. Hydrogen in its core is gradually depleted. Fusion produces helium, and over time, the center becomes filled with this heavier element. The star remains serene on the outside, but within, the balance shifts, almost imperceptibly at first. When the hydrogen in the core runs thin, gravity begins to gain strength once more. The core contracts, gently, heating as it shrinks. The outer layers, responding to this subtle shift, expand. The star grows larger, brighter, and cooler on the surface. Its color shifts from white or yellow to a soft, dusky orange or red. This is the red giant phase, a peaceful swelling, a graceful unfolding. The star becomes enormous, its outer layers drifting outward in layers that shimmer, like veils of warm, glowing mist. Though the surface becomes cooler, the interior grows hotter. Helium in the core begins to fuse into heavier elements like carbon and oxygen. The star enters a new phase of balance, slightly different from before, but no less serene in its cosmic scale. If you imagine yourself floating near a red giant, you would see its outer layers rippling slowly, luminous and delicate, like the glowing surface of a quiet ember. The star breathes deeply now, expanding and contracting in, gentle cycles that occur over long stretches of time. There is no violence in this movement, only the slow shifting of layers guided by the changing physics within. Its light becomes softer, more diffuse, spreading out like the warm glow of a lantern veiled with fabric. For many stars, this swelling marks the final acts of their long life. Their outer layers expand so far that they drift away into space, forming a glowing shell of gas, a planetary nebula, radiating soft blues, greens, and purples. At the center, the remaining core contracts into a white dwarf, a small, dense ember, glowing with leftover heat. Though no longer generating fusion, this remnant star cools slowly, releasing the last of its warmth over billions of years, fading gently into the dark. There is no abrupt ending here, only a quiet dimming, like the slow cooling of a stone warmed by sunlight. But for stars much larger than our Sun, the story unfurls differently. Massive stars burn through their hydrogen quickly, their intense gravity and energy pushing fusion to higher levels. They live short lives compared to their smaller counterparts, millions of years instead of billions. Their fusion cycles advance rapidly, creating heavier and heavier elements in their cores. Helium into carbon, carbon into oxygen, oxygen into silicon, and finally silicon into iron. All the while, the star glows fiercely, its surface shining blue or white, its core a deep furnace of transformation. Even in their immense power, these stars remain balanced until the very end. But when iron fills their cores, fusion can no longer release energy. Iron consumes energy instead of producing it, and suddenly, the delicate balance breaks. Gravity overwhelms the star's inner support. The core collapses, inward in a fraction of a second. The outer layers, unable to follow quickly enough, crash inward upon the core and rebound outward in an explosion of light and energy, a supernova. It is the most dramatic transformation a star can undergo. Yet even this explosion is a kind of creation. The outer layers of the star, enriched with heavy elements forged during its short life, are thrown into space. They seed the galaxy with iron, gold, calcium, and countless other elements that become the substance of new stars, new planets, and eventually, life itself. The explosion may be brilliant, but its purpose is gentle. It renews the universe, offering material for future worlds. What remains of the core depends on the star's original mass. A star not too massive may leave behind a neutron star, a dense, compact object no larger than a city, yet so heavy that a teaspoon of it would weigh billions of tons. These neutron stars can spin rapidly, emitting beams of radio light that sweep across space like lighthouse beams. They are strange and beautiful remnants, the quiet hearts of once powerful suns. For the most massive stars, the collapse continues past the neutron stage. Gravity becomes so strong that not even light can escape. A black hole forms, silent and enigmatic, like a shadow carved into the fabric of space. It is not a violent presence now, but a quiet one, a place where the star's history becomes folded into the geometry of space-time. And yet, even the story does not end there. Over billions of years, the remnants of these stars merge with gas and dust drifting through the galaxy. They seed new nebulae. Those nebulae collapse into new stars. The cycle continues softly, endlessly, in the quiet rhythm of creation and renewal. Stars live, shine, expand, fade, explode, and reorganize. Their deaths give birth to new beginnings. Their lives are long breaths in the unfolding story of the universe. As you rest now, imagine yourself drifting through these stages. Picture the soft glow of a young star, the warm expansion of a red giant, the gentle cooling of a white dwarf. Imagine the brilliant release of a supernova, not as destruction but as transformation, scattering elements that will someday form oceans, mountains, plants, and living beings on planets yet to be born. Feel the calm in this cycle. Feel the patience. Feel the rhythm that mirrors your own slow breathing. The life of a star is both immense and intimate. It is written in the same elements that form your body. It unfolds in cycles that resemble the quiet transitions of your own life, periods of balance, moments of change, gentle expansions, peaceful releases. You are part of this rhythm, part of this cosmic story, made of its ashes and warmed by its light. 14. The quiet dance of binary stars. In the vast stillness of the night sky, you might look at a star and think it stands alone, shining quietly in its solitary place among the darkness. But many stars are not solitary at all. They move through the cosmos in pairs, two suns bound gently to one another by gravity, circling in slow, intricate paths that unfold across millions of years. These binary stars drift together like dancers in a cosmic waltz, each shaping the motion of the other, each held in. A relationship so delicate and enduring that it becomes one of the universe's most soothing patterns. Tonight, as your breath settles into soft and steady waves, we will drift through the peaceful companionship of binary stars and the quiet grace with which they move together across the ages. Imagine two stars forming from the same cloud of gas, gathering their mass at the same time, surrounded by the same drifting dust and shimmering nebula. From their very beginning, these stars feel one another's presence. Gravity reaches out like an unseen thread, linking them into a shared orbit. They circle a common center of mass, the invisible point between them where their gravitational pulls balance perfectly. Neither star dominates completely. Neither star commands the other. Instead, they sway around this mutual point, like two lanterns hanging from opposite ends of a slowly turning mobile. Their dance is not hurried. It may take years, centuries, or even millennia for the pair to complete a single orbit. Their movement is gentle and sure, always guided by gravity's steady hand. Some binaries drift close together, orbiting within just a few million miles of one another, their light mingling so intimately that their surfaces may influence each other's shape and temperature. Others live farther apart, connected across vast distances, their orbits sweeping wide arcs that take long ages to complete. Yet whether close or far, they remain bound a quiet companionship carried through the deep dark. As you imagine these pairs Picture two stars glowing softly against the velvet backdrop of space. One may be larger, burning hotter and brighter, its color a pale blue or soft white. The other may be smaller, warmer in hue, glowing with the golden light of a gentle sun or the reddish tone of an older, cooler star. Their differences do not disrupt their harmony. Instead, they move together, their orbits adjusting to accommodate their masses, their ages, their radiances. Their companionship becomes a shared rhythm, a slow and beautiful balance. Sometimes, one star in the pair swells into a red giant as it ages. Its outer layers puff outward, drifting toward its smaller companion. A soft transfer of material may begin. The smaller star gathers this drifting gas, growing brighter as it absorbs the gift. The red giant, relieved of some of its outer layers, becomes lighter, and its orbit may shift slightly. This exchange is not violent. It is a gentle surrender of material, a quiet transfer that allows the stars to evolve together, each influencing the other's destiny. In some binary systems, the stars are so close that they share material almost constantly, forming a contact binary, a pair of stars touching, their surfaces blending into one another like droplets of water merging. They rotate as one connected shape, their outer layers mingling, their heat flowing between them. And though this sounds intense, from a distance, it looks serene, two lights moving through space, as if they were a single, luminous being with two inner hearts. Other binaries remain widely separated, drifting through space together like two boats traveling side by side on a calm sea. Their orbits are slow, their interactions subtle, their influence on one another felt only through the long, steady pull of gravity. For these systems, companionship is quiet and enduring. They spin through the galaxy together, maintaining their partnership across billions of miles and billions of years. As you drift further into this imagery, imagine yourself floating in space near such a pair. You watch them circle each other with a grace that feels almost meditative. Their motions are predictable and smooth, following arcs shaped by the patient laws that have guided the cosmos since its earliest moments. Time seems to stretch around them. The stars do, not rush. They do not strain. They simply move, each responding to the other with gentle precision. If you look closely enough, you might notice how their light changes as they orbit. Sometimes one passes in front of the other from your vantage point, causing a small dip in brightness, a soft eclipse that repeats in a reliable pattern. Such eclipsing binaries appear to breathe, their brightness swelling and sinking in a gentle rhythm. These light curves reveal the stars' sizes, their distances, their temperatures, all hidden inside the slow pulse of brightness. Their flickering becomes a cosmic heartbeat, steady enough to lull even a restless mind. In some rare pairs, the difference in mass between the stars leads to dramatic transformations. When a massive star reaches the end of its life and collapses into a neutron star or black hole, it may continue orbiting its quieter companion. The compact remnant, dense beyond comprehension, exerts a strong gravitational pull. If material from the remaining star falls inward, it spirals around the remnant, forming a glowing disk of light. Even then, the system remains bound, the dance continuing in a new form, one partner transformed, the other adjusting, the relationship preserved by gravity's patient tether. There are even trinary and quadruple systems, sets of 3 or 4 stars moving together in complex but stable patterns. Their motions follow an elegant geometry, each star responding to the gravity of the others, forming celestial shapes that resemble slowly turning sculptures. Despite the complexity, these systems remain peaceful, their motions unfolding across vast stretches of time, their companionship unbroken. Binary stars remind us of something quiet and profound, that companionship exists even in the vast emptiness of space. Stars, those burning spheres of plasma, are not always alone. They find partners. They move in harmony. They share material. They influence one another's paths. Their relationships are not rushed or fleeting. They endure across epochs, surviving the birth of planets, the changing of galaxies, the slow drift of cosmic dust. Their dance is one of the universe's most peaceful expressions of balance and connection. As you breathe slowly now, feel that sense of companionship echoing through you. Like binary stars, you do not move through the universe alone. You are shaped by the gravity of relationships, by the quiet pull of people who have touched your life. Your orbit, the path you follow through time, is influenced by countless gentle interactions, each one shifting you slightly, guiding you softly. You are part of a system, part of a dance, part of a shared motion that continues even when you rest. Let the calm rhythm of binary stars wrap around you. Feel their steady circling, their quiet companionship, their ancient patience. They remind you that balance is possible, that connection is natural, that even across unimaginable distances, bonds can form and endure. 15. The soft glow of nebulae. When you think of the night sky, you may imagine stars as solitary points of light, each one shining quietly in the darkness. But scattered across the vastness of the cosmos are places where darkness becomes luminous, where clouds of gas and dust glow with delicate color, where starlight and shadow blend into shapes so soft and ancient they seem to breathe. These places are nebulae vast, drifting clouds where stars are born, where they shed their final layers, or where their light gently illuminates the surrounding dust. Nebulae are some of the most serene structures in the universe, their presence subtle yet expansive, their beauty both ethereal and grounding. Tonight, as your breath slows and your body settles into a deeper calm, we will drift through these cosmic clouds and explore the cyanide, quiet glow that fills them. Imagine yourself floating in the depth of interstellar space. The darkness around you is deep, velvety, and silent. Then, ahead, a faint radiance begins to spread, not sharp or bright, but soft and unfolding mist of color. A nebula reveals itself gradually, not as a solid shape, but as a gentle blending of hues, pale blues, soft pinks, muted golds, dusky violets. These colors are not artificial or forced. They arise naturally from the physics of starlight interacting with gas, each wavelength telling a calm, patient story of atoms returning to energy states, releasing light with quiet grace. Nebulae come in many forms, each one shaped by different processes, yet all of them embody a kind of cosmic softness. Some, like emission nebulae, glow because young stars nestled within them emit ultraviolet light. This energetic light gently excites the surrounding hydrogen gas, causing it to radiate a warm, rosy glow. As you drift through such a nebula in your imagination, you might feel as though you are wandering through a gentle sunrise stretched out across light years, its colors endless and serene. Others are reflection nebulae, clouds that do not emit light themselves, but instead reflect the illumination of nearby stars. Their colors are usually blue not because the gas is inherently blue, but because blue light scatters more easily than red. These nebulae shine like moonlit fog, glowing softly with diffused radiance, imparting a sense of calm to everything around them. To float within a reflection nebula would be like drifting through a cloud, lit from within by starlight. A quiet, ethereal brightness surrounding you, yet never overwhelming. Dark nebulae, too, hold a special kind of beauty. These are dense clouds of dust that block starlight, appearing as silhouettes against the brighter regions of the galaxy. They do not shine, they absorb, yet there is comfort in their presence. They are the wombs of stars, hiding within them the slow, patient collapse of gas that will eventually ignite into new suns. Dark nebulae are like shadows that promise light. They remind you that even what appears dark and opaque can be rich with quiet potential, holding stories waiting to unfold. Some nebulae are remnants, final breaths of dying stars. Planetary nebulae, for instance, are formed when a star sheds its outer layers in a gentle exhalation, revealing a hot core at the center that illuminates the drifting gas. These nebulae are small compared to the star-forming clouds, but their patterns are intricate and delicate. Their rings, shells, and filaments stretch outward in soft, luminous shapes like ripples, expanding from a single raindrop on a still pond. To imagine drifting near one of these is to witness the quiet dignity of a star's final transformation, a beautiful release rather than an ending. Other remnants, such as supernova remnants, may carry more energy and motion, but even they have moments of calm. After the intense flash fades, the expanding shell of gas spreads outward, cooling, slowing, becoming a faint, luminous bubble in the darkness. These remnants carry the elements forged in the heart of the star: oxygen, carbon, silicon, iron, scattering them into space, where they will eventually become part of new stars, planets, and living beings. There is a soft continuity in this cycle. Nebulae are not only clouds, they are bridges between beginnings and endings, between life and transformation. As you imagine drifting deeper into a nebula, feel the way the light wraps around you from all directions. In space, there is no up or down, no floor or ceiling, only the gentle glow of ionized gas stretching into infinity. The colors do not pulse or flash. They hang with a serenity that feels ancient, as though the nebula has been exhaling the same quiet light for millions of years. Dust particles drift around you like tiny sparks suspended in still water. Some glint faintly as starlight catches them. Others remain in shadow, absorbing light, contributing to the soft depths of the cloud. Nebulae are often so large that even traveling at the speed of light, it would take years to cross them. They are not objects you can grasp or outline. They are experiences, places where light and matter blend into shapes that resemble dreams more than geologic structures. Their edges blur. Their interiors shift. Their colors diffuse into one another. Even astronomers who study them often describe their beauty in poetic terms, acknowledging that something about nebulae transcends measurement and analysis. In many ways, nebulae mirror the experience of falling asleep. They are gentle transitions between states, between darkness and light, between solidity and diffusion, between birth and death. They are places where forms change slowly, quietly, without abruptness. When you picture yourself floating within a nebula, you may feel a kind of surrender, a willingness to let go of sharp boundaries, to become part of a soft and luminous expanse. The nebula becomes a cradle, a slow embrace of gas and starlight, inviting you to drift, to soften, to rest. And just as nebulae shape stars, they also shape the way we see the universe. Without them, the galaxy would feel harsh and empty. It is the presence of these glowing clouds, their colors, their shadows, their gentle diffusion of light, that gives the cosmos its depth and its quiet emotional resonance. They soften the edges of the universe, offering spaces where light and darkness mingle in harmony. As your breath slows now, imagine the soft glow of a nebula surrounding you, its colors folding gently into your awareness. Picture the stars forming inside it, their light filtering through the drifting dust like lanterns in a fog. Let the calmness of this place ease the edges of your mind, quieting thoughts, loosening the last tensions from your muscles. The nebula holds you in its quiet expanse, reminding you that creation and rest are intertwined. that light can emerge from the gentlest collapse, that beauty often grows within stillness. 16. The quiet pull that holds galaxies together. When you gaze upon the night sky and let your thoughts drift into the deep darkness, it is easy to imagine the universe as a place of isolated lights, stars shining independently, each one a lone lantern hanging in the cosmic night. But if you were to float far above the Milky Way, rising until the entire galaxy stretched beneath you like a softly glowing spiral, you would see that nothing in the universe stands alone. Everything is held together by an ancient and patient force, gravity so gentle in its motion, yet so vast in its reach, that it binds stars, planets, and even entire galaxies into quiet, harmonious structures. Tonight, as your breath becomes calm and your mind softens toward sleep, we will drift into the serene presence of gravity, the quiet pull that shapes galaxies and cradles the cosmos. Imagine a galaxy, perhaps our own Milky Way, spread across hundreds of thousands of light years. From a distance, its spiral arms curl like soft brushstrokes, illuminated by billions of stars. The core glows warmly, dense with ancient suns. The arms ripple outward in delicate waves, lit by clusters of younger stars. And beneath all of this visible structure lies an invisible framework, a gentle web of gravitational influence that guides every star along its orbit. Gravity is not loud or violent here. It is the quiet architect, shaping motion through gentle, persistent pull. Each star moves through the galaxy in a slow, graceful arc. Our Sun, for instance, drifts around the galactic center at a steady pace, taking roughly 230 million years to complete a single orbit. In all its lifetime, the Sun will circle the galaxy no more than a few times. This motion is not hurried. It is not forced. It is a calm participation in the galaxy's ancient rhythm. The same gentle pull that keeps Earth orbiting the Sun extends outward, for light years, guiding the Sun itself around the galaxy in a wide, slow sweep. As you imagine this motion, think of the stars not as chaotic or colliding, but as dancers moving in vast, organized paths, each one following a curve shaped by the collective mass of billions of others. No star moves alone. Even if separated by enormous distances, their motions are linked through gravity's subtle presence. It is a connection too faint to feel in any human sense, yet strong enough to hold galaxies together for billions of years. When we look at galaxies, their shapes reveal the quiet work of gravity. Spiral galaxies, with their elegant arms, owe their form to the interplay between rotation and gravitational attraction. Elliptical galaxies, rounder and smoother, carry the imprint of ancient interactions, where stars settled into gentle, balanced orbits. Irregular galaxies bear softer, less symmetrical shapes, often sculpted by encounters with neighboring galaxies, interactions that unfold over millions of years, never rushed. Gravity not only holds galaxies together, it also guides how they grow. Over time, small galaxies drift toward larger ones, drawn gently inward. There, stars merge. Their dust collides. Their gas clouds combine. These mergers happen slowly, like two drifting clouds, blending into one another in the sky. Even the most dramatic galactic collisions unfold over hundreds of millions of years, so slow that if you were living inside them, you might never notice the gradual shifts. Stars rarely collide directly. Instead, the gravitational fields of the galaxies remix their orbits, forming new patterns that eventually settle into a calm, unified structure. Imagine floating between two merging galaxies. From this vantage, you might see the stars of one stretching toward the other like luminous threads. Arcs of starlight bridge the space between them, glowing faintly as they are drawn into new paths. Dust clouds twist into graceful tails, illuminated by the soft light of young star clusters forming within them. The entire scene unfolds in deep, slow motion, so patient and gentle that it feels less like a collision and more like a long, quiet embrace. Gravity's gentleness also reveals itself in the subtle motions of star clusters within galaxies. These clusters, bound by their own internal gravity, drift in wide orbits around the galactic center. Some remain tightly knit for billions of years. Others gradually disperse, their stars joining the galaxy's broader population. Each cluster's fate is determined by delicate gravitational balances, not abrupt forces. The universe rarely rushes these changes. It allows them to unfold at their own unhurried pace. If you could drift through the halo that surrounds the Milky Way, a sparsely populated region far above the spiral arms, you would find ancient stars glowing like distant embers, their orbits elongated and quiet. These stars carry memories of the galaxies, early days, when smaller galaxies were drawn in by gravity and absorbed into the Milky Way. The halo is a tranquil archive, holding remnants of past mergers, preserved in the slow drift of stars that wander far from the bustling spiral arms. Even more mysterious is the gravitational presence we cannot see, dark matter. Though invisible, dark matter provides much of the gravitational pull that holds galaxies together. Without it, galaxies would spin apart, their stars drifting away like sparks from a slowing ember. Instead, they remain cohesive, held by a soft, unseen hand. Dark matter forms a vast, spherical halo around each galaxy, extending far beyond the visible stars. It does not shine or absorb light. It does not collide or clump like ordinary matter. It simply provides structure, quiet, steady, patient. Think of dark matter as the stillness beneath a lake. The water's surface may ripple with wind and movement, but the deep, calm water supports everything above it. In the same way, dark matter supports the luminous structures of galaxies, keeping them whole, guiding their rotations with gentle, unwavering pull. As you breathe slowly now, feel the concept of gravity softening into something calm and comforting. Gravity is not forceful here. It is not sudden. It is the quiet, continuous presence that keeps the universe connected. It binds stars into galaxies, galaxies into clusters, clusters into vast cosmic webs that stretch across billions of light years. It is the deep breath beneath the structure of the cosmos, the gentle hand shaping everything with infinite patience. You, too, are part of gravity's quiet embrace. Every atom in your body responds to its pull. Every movement you make is shaped by its balance. Even your rest, your sinking into the softness beneath you, is guided by gravity's steady presence. You and the stars obey the same quiet force, move within the same gentle field, exist within the same cosmic order. As you relax deeper, imagine the galaxy surrounding you like a luminous spiral of calm. Picture its stars drifting with silent grace, guided by a pull so natural and constant that it feels like the universe's own heartbeat. Let that sense of interconnectedness ease your thoughts, soften your awareness, and carry you gently onward into stillness. 17. The slow wandering of comets. Far beyond the warm glow of the inner solar system, past the comforting pull of the planets and the sweeping arcs of their orbits, lies a realm of deep silence. It is a place where sunlight becomes a distant memory, where darkness stretches unbroken for billions of miles, and where ancient bodies drift in slow, glacial motion. These are comets, icy wanderers, born from the coldest outskirts of our solar system, carrying within them the untouched echoes of its earliest beginnings. Tonight, as your breath deepens and your thoughts soften into a gentle drift, we will follow these quiet travelers on their long, sweeping paths, letting their unhurried journeys bring you further into calm. Imagine the solar system as a vast cocoon of space. At its center burns the sun, radiating warmth and light, shaping the orbits of planets, moons, and asteroids. But far beyond even the outermost planets lies a faint spherical cloud, the Oort cloud, stretching almost a light year from the sun in every direction. It is here, in this remote and frozen expanse, that most comets begin their journeys. They rest in darkness for millions, sometimes billions of years, small and silent, like seeds lying dormant in the deep winter soil of interstellar space. Comets are humble bodies, collections of ice, dust, rock, and organic compounds, shaped not by heat or pressure, but by the gentle aggregation of material drifting in the early days of the solar system. Their surfaces are not polished or gleaming. They are dark, speckled, porous, absorbing most of the faint starlight that reaches them. They drift without urgency, carried only by the soft gravitational pull of the sun and the occasional nudge from passing stars or distant clouds of gas. Every so often, something stirs one of these. Ancient wanderers, perhaps the slight gravitational whisper of a nearby star passing through the outskirts of the Oort cloud, or the gentle tug from the galactic plane as the solar system drifts in its orbit around the Milky Way. And with that small nudge, the comet begins a long fall inward, slowly descending toward the sun from the frigid edges of the solar system. Its journey may take millions of years. There is no rush, no acceleration that can be felt, only the soft, constant pull drawing it closer to warmth. As the comet drifts inward, the darkness around it begins to soften. Sunlight grows stronger, though still faint. At first it warms nothing, but as the comet approaches the inner regions where planets circle in their steady dance, the sunlight begins to touch its icy surface. The ice responds by sublimating, transforming directly from solid to gas. A thin atmosphere forms around the comet, a delicate envelope of vapor called a coma. It expands gently, glowing faintly as it reflects sunlight. What was once a dark, frozen stone becomes a luminous traveler, shimmering with a misty aura. If you imagine yourself floating near such a comet, you might see jets of gas and dust quietly escaping its surface, like soft breaths released into the emptiness. These jets push tiny grains outward, forming a long, diffuse tail that always points away from the sun. The tail is not a single, solid stream, but a delicate gradient of dust and ionized gas, each particle drifting on its own path, carried by sunlight and the solar wind. It is one of the most peaceful structures in the solar system, an elongated veil trailing behind a wandering body, soft and translucent, like the train of a ghostly gown moving through still air. Comet tails can stretch for millions of miles, yet they remain so thin that if you were inside one, you might not even notice. The dust is too sparse, the gas too faint. You would float in a space that appears empty, while knowing that around you, a beautiful, glowing veil is being painted by sunlight. To see a comet from a distance, though to watch its tail arc across the sky, is to witness a moment of cosmic grace. It is a reminder that beauty often emerges from quiet, patient journeys rather than abrupt or dramatic events. Many comets follow long, looping orbits that carry them around the sun before sending them back into deep space. Some may return again after decades or centuries, each time appearing briefly in the sky of whatever world has grown beneath them. Others pass by once and never return, flung outward into interstellar space where they drift among the stars for eternity. Their paths are not hurried. They are not linear. They are soft arcs woven through the gravitational fabric of the solar system, shaped by forces that unfold slowly over time. Comets also carry secrets, ancient materials preserved from the earliest days of the solar system, while planets and moons have undergone heating, melting, shaping and reshaping. Comets remain largely unchanged. They are like time capsules, holding within their icy cores the primordial dust and frozen gases that existed before Earth formed its oceans or atmosphere. In this way, comets are storytellers, carrying memories of the solar system's infancy, bringing them inward with every approach to the sun. Imagine now that you are drifting beside a comet on its inward journey. You feel the gentle warmth of sunlight growing as the comet moves closer to the sun. You watch the coma glow brighter, the tail stretch longer. The jets of sublimated ice form intricate fans of vapor. The comet continues its slow curve around the sun, reaching its closest point, its perihelion, where the glow is brightest and its beauty is most complete. Then, with the same quiet motion, it begins its long retreat, cooling once more, the coma shrinking, the tail fading, until it becomes a dark, silent stone again. There is comfort in this ebb and flow. The comet's journey mirrors the cycles within your own life, the warming, the brightening, the soft fading, and the quiet return to stillness. Its long, graceful arcs remind you that there is no need to rush, no need to strive for constant brightness. Light emerges naturally when you draw closer to warmth, and it softens gently when you drift away to rest. As your breath settles deeper, feel yourself carried along with the comet, weightless, quiet, drifting through space on a breath, path shaped by the gentle pull of the sun. Its calm journey is your calm journey. Its slow wandering is your slow wandering. It teaches that even across the coldest distances, light can appear, form, fade, and return. Every cycle is natural. Every change is part of a larger, peaceful rhythm. 18. The gentle light of distant galaxies. When you stand beneath a clear night sky and let your eyes sink into its deep, velvety darkness, the stars you see are only a small whisper of the light that fills the universe. Far beyond the reach of the naked eye, beyond the faintest glimmer you can perceive, lie entire galaxies, vast islands of stars adrift in a sea of darkness. Each one carries billions of suns, billions of stories, billions of quiet lights blending into a single, delicate glow. These galaxies shimmer so faintly across unimaginable distances that, from Earth, they often appear not as bright points, but as soft, hazy smudges, the briefest brushstrokes of light on the canvas of the night. Tonight, as you breathe slowly and let your mind drift, we will journey into this gentle realm of distant galaxies, feeling their calm presence as they glow across the ages. Imagine yourself floating in the quiet space between two galaxies. There is no sound here, no wind, no motion that you can feel, only a deep stillness that stretches in every direction. In this silence, a distant galaxy appears not as a defined object, but as a soft cloud of light, its spiral arms, faint and ethereal, its core glowing with the warmth of countless ancient stars. The light that reaches you from such a galaxy began its journey millions, even billions, of years ago, long before human beings took their first breath, long before Earth grew forests or oceans, long before the sun was, surrounded by planets. And yet, this light arrives gently, brushing your awareness like the softest whisper. Distant galaxies glow with different shapes and subtleties. Some are spirals, their arms curling like the slow unfurling of a seashell, each arc illuminated by clusters of young, blue stars. The spirals drift in a slow rotation that takes hundreds of millions of years to complete. Their motion too patient to see, but their form still held in graceful balance. To watch one from afar is to see a cosmic pinwheel turning in near-perfect stillness, its light spread gently across space, like the reflection of moonlight on rippling water. Other galaxies appear as smooth ellipses, vast glowing ovals filled with older, redder stars that shine with quiet endurance. These elliptical galaxies feel like embers rather than flames, holding the memory of ancient star formation, now settled into steady warmth. Their glow is softer, more diffuse, lacking the sharp spiral structure, but offering a sense of calm, like the soft radiance of a distant lantern seen through mist. Then there are irregular galaxies, shapes without symmetry, drifting like clouds caught in cosmic currents. They are patchy, uneven, full of clusters and voids, forming structures that resemble delicate smears of light rather than orderly patterns. Yet even in their irregularity, there is beauty, a sense that the universe allows for variety, for freedom, for forms that do not need to follow strict geometry, to shine quietly across the night. As you drift closer to one of these galaxies, its details sharpen in your mind. The core glows more brightly, lit by densely packed stars, whose combined light forms a soft, golden center. Around it, clusters of hot, young stars sparkle with pale blue radiance. Dark lanes of dust sweep across the arms, absorbing starlight and adding depth to the shine. These dust lanes are not interruptions. They are part of the galaxy's story, places where new stars will form, where clouds will collapse gently over millions of years, giving birth to the next generation of light. The deeper you look, the more countless the stars become. Billions of tiny points shimmer within even a single galaxy, each one a sun with its own planets, its own gravitational pulse, its own rhythmic stability. To imagine all of these stars shining together is to feel the galaxy not as a distant object, but as a vast symphony of light, each star a quiet note, each cluster a soft chord, each arm a flowing harmony extending through space. Yet what is most calming is the knowledge of distance. These galaxies shine from such remote regions of the universe that their light has been stretched, softened, and reddened by the expansion of space. They glow not in sharp, brilliant hues, but in gentle tones that resemble candlelight seen across a long, dark hall. This softening gives their glow a dreamlike quality. They are not bright intrusions in the night. They are gentle presences, faraway companions, reminding you that the cosmos is immense, yet deeply quiet. If you imagine drifting further still, leaving these bright galaxies behind, you might find yourself in a region where they appear only as tiny smudges, barely their hints of luminous islands. From that vantage, the universe feels even more tranquil. The spaces between galaxies are vast and serene, filled with darkness that is not empty, but peaceful, like the pause between slow breaths. Sometimes galaxies gather in clusters, dozens, hundreds, even thousands of them bound together by gravity. These clusters float in immense cosmic voids, their galaxies glimmering like lights in a distant city seen across a sleeping landscape. Their collective light becomes a soft glow, a comforting presence in the vast quiet of intergalactic space. Even here, where the universe stretches beyond comprehension, light finds its way, softening the darkness with its patient radiance. There is a beautiful truth hidden in the glow of distant galaxies. The farther away they are, the further back in time we see them. Some galaxies we observe today appear as they were billions of years ago, when stars were younger and the universe was more compact. In this way, starlight becomes a window into the past, a gentle stream carrying memories across the ages. When you gaze at a faint galaxy through a telescope, or even imagine one in your mind, you are looking not at what it is, but at what it once was, a distant moment, preserved and delivered softly through space. As your breath becomes deeper, let this thought soothe you. The universe holds its history in light. Nothing is lost. Everything that shines leaves a trail. And even if it takes billions of years to arrive, the glow carries its story with quiet fidelity. Distant galaxies remind us that time moves slowly in the cosmos, that everything unfolds at a pace far gentler than the rhythms of daily life. Let yourself drift now in that sense of deep time, imagining yourself surrounded by galaxies glowing faintly from across their light is soft, their presence tranquil. They are not commanding attention. They are simply shining, offering their calm radiance to anyone willing to look. 19. The soft drift of cosmic dust. When you look up at the night sky, most of what you see appears as vast. Emptiness, stretches of darkness between the stars, a quiet void that feels clean and hollow. But that darkness is not truly empty. It contains something delicate, something ancient, something soft enough to escape the eye but powerful enough to shape the glow of the universe. It contains cosmic dust, tiny grains, smaller than smoke, drifting through interstellar space in gentle, silent currents. These grains, though humble in size, weave together the light of galaxies, soften the radiance of stars, and serve as the raw material for planets, moons, and the very bodies we inhabit. Tonight, as your breath deepens and your mind steps quietly toward rest, we will drift into this almost invisible world and feel the serene presence of cosmic dust. Imagine yourself floating in a tranquil stretch of interstellar space. At first glance, it seems empty, but as your eyes adjust, whether physically or in imagination, you begin to sense subtle shapes. A faint haze here, a slight dimming there. You are surrounded by dust, grains so small that billions of them could fit on the tip of a single finger. They drift independently, sometimes alone, sometimes in soft clouds that stretch across light years. These grains are remnants of ancient stars, tiny crystals, bits of carbon, fragments of silicates, formed in the outer layers of dying giants. When those stars released their final breaths, they exhaled the material that would become this delicate dust, releasing it gently into space. Cosmic dust is quiet. It does not sparkle like stars. It does not glow like nebulae. It simply exists, absorbing and scattering starlight, softening the brightness of the universe. When starlight passes through a dust cloud, the dust does not devour it. Instead, it sifts the light, filtering out certain wavelengths, dimming some colors while allowing others to pass. This filtering gives distant stars a warmer hue, like candlelight seen through thin fabric. Even the Milky Way's soft, hazy glow comes partly from dust, light scattered and diffused, transformed into something gentle. If you imagine drifting deeper into a dust-rich region, the stars around you begin to blur, their edges softening, becoming hazy. Some fade entirely, hidden behind the quiet opacity of the dust. And yet this darkness is not harsh. It is restful. Dust clouds are like the universe's way of creating shade, offering places where light can pause, where brightness becomes muted and contemplative. Over millions of years, these dust grains gently collide, sticking together through electrostatic attraction. They form larger clumps, then small aggregates, then pebbles. Eventually, they become building blocks for worlds. Planets begin from dust. Rings around planets form from dust. Even comets, with their icy cores, are held together by dust and ancient grains. To drift through cosmic dust is to drift through possibility, through the earliest ingredients of creation. Inside dense dust clouds, where starlight hardly penetrates, something even more magical happens. Gravity, subtle and patient, begins to draw these particles together. Over time, the cloud grows denser, darker, cooler, and within this darkness, the seeds of stars form. Dust becomes the cradle for starlight, the same grains that gently obscure distant light become the scaffolding from which new light eventually emerges. It is a quiet cycle dust, created by dying stars, soon becomes the birthplace of new ones. Destruction and creation, resting side by side, without conflict, without urgency. As your breath slows now, imagine touching a single grain of cosmic dust. It is unimaginably small, yet it contains a history older than Earth itself. It may have been formed in the outer layers of a red giant star, cast outward in a soft wind that drifted through space for millions of years. It may have been shaped in the explosion of a supernova, its structure forged in heat and pressure that lasted only moments, then carried outward across the galaxy. It may contain atoms of carbon and oxygen that once glowed at the center of a star, atoms that will eventually become part of rocks, oceans, or living beings. Every grain is a memory, a tiny relic of processes, far bigger and slower than anything we experience. And yet these grains are everywhere, shaping the universe in delicate, invisible ways. They absorb ultraviolet light and re-emit it as soft infrared glow. They dim starlight just enough to reveal distance and structure. They help cool collapsing gas clouds, allowing stars to form. They carry complex organic molecules across space. They drift patiently, carried by starlight pressure, magnetic fields, gentle gravitational currents. They accumulate in the cold outskirts of star systems, waiting to become comets or planetary rings. They settle in the quiet space between stars, forming the backdrop for nebulae. They shape the colors we see from distant galaxies, reddening their light, softening their glow. And most remarkable of all, these same grains eventually found their way into the cloud that became our solar system. Every rock on Earth, every mountain, every grain of sand, every breath of oxygen, every cell in your body was shaped from material that began as cosmic dust. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your cells, all once floated through space as part of a dust grain drifting between stars. You carry the remnants of ancient suns within you. You are not separate from the universe's dust, you are made of it. Let this thought settle into you like a calm tide. The universe builds itself from softness, not from violence or noise, but from small, quiet particles drifting through deep space, from grains so light they move with the faint pressure of starlight, from dust that seems like nothing, yet becomes everything. Now imagine drifting back toward the familiar darkness of the night sky. The dust clouds begin to thin. Light becomes clearer. Stars sharpen into fine points. Yet the awareness remains. The softness that shapes the universe is everywhere, even in the darkest regions. Even in places that appear empty, creation is quietly unfolding. As you breathe deeply now, let yourself feel like one of these grains, not insignificant, but peaceful, carried gently by forces much larger than yourself, allowed to drift, to rest, to be part of a greater whole. There is no need to rush, no need to push. The universe forms its beauty through patience, through softness, through the quiet drifting of dust, across unimaginable distances. 20. The quiet unity of stars and night. When you lie beneath the night sky and feel its calmness settling over you like a cool, soothing veil, it can be easy to think of the universe as something distant, far away, unreachable, indifferent. But as you've drifted through the soft glow of stars, the slow wandering of comets, the gentle light of galaxies, and the quiet drift of cosmic dust, a deeper truth has been unfolding around you, quietly and patiently. Everything in the universe is connected. Every photon, every grain, every orbit, every glow, every shadow participates in the same ancient rhythm. Tonight, as we enter this final part of our journey, you will feel that unity in your breath, in the softness of your thoughts, and in the deep stillness that gathers around you like a cosmic embrace. Imagine the night sky not as a scattering of unrelated lights, but as a single, woven tapestry, a vast, continuous fabric of matter, motion, and time. Each star is a thread, each galaxy a cluster of interlaced patterns, each dust grain a small but essential stitch in the whole. The dark spaces between them do not divide this tapestry. They give it depth, they give it room, they make it breathable, and you, lying quietly in your own small patch of darkness, are part of this same fabric, your existence woven from the same materials, shaped by the same forces, illuminated by the same ancient light. Everything you see in the night sky has touched everything else in some way. The atoms in your body were forged in stars that lived and died billions of years before Earth existed. The light that reaches your eyes has traveled across expanses of darkness, shaped by gravity, dust, and cosmic evolution. Even the air you breathe, the oxygen that fills your lungs, was once suspended in a nebula, part of a cloud that slowly collapsed to form the young sun and the planet beneath you. Think of this unity as a soft hum beneath existence, a low, steady resonance that connects you to the stars. It is not a metaphor. It is physical. It is literal. You are part of the universe, not in some abstract way, but in the simplest, most profound truth. Everything in you was once part of the cosmos, drifting in silence, waiting to be shaped into something new. Imagine now that you are floating gently through space, not as an observer, separate from the universe, but as a participant. The stars around you are not distant points, but familiar companions. Their light moves through you as easily as sunlight warms your skin. You drift among nebulae, feeling the softness of their glowing clouds. You pass through the dust that will one day become planets. You glide around galaxies that turn like slow, luminous whirlpools. Everything feels connected. Everything feels quiet. Everything feels patient. In this drifting, you notice something calming. The universe does not hurry. It does not force. It allows things to unfold naturally. Stars take millions of years to form. Galaxies evolve over billions. Light travels across unimaginable distances without complaint. Even destruction in the cosmos is gentle in its timing. Gradual collapses, slow dispersals, long transitions from one form to another. This cosmic patience can become your patience. The calmness of the stars can become your calmness. Their slow rhythms can become the rhythm of your breath. As you continue to drift, imagine the starlight touching you in the most delicate way. It is not bright, it is not overwhelming, it is soft, warm, ancient. It carries the memory of everything you've journeyed through: dust clouds, nebulae, galaxies, comets, and the quiet pull of gravity that holds it all together. The light settles around you like a blanket, not heavy, but present, gently reminding you that you belong to something vast, yet embracing. And then, slowly, you begin to sense the earth beneath you once more. You feel the familiar pull of gravity, the steady ground supporting you, the air wrapping around your body. You realize that the unity of the cosmos is not something you need to travel outward to find. It is here, within you, all the time. Every breath you take echoes the expansion and contraction of nebulae. Every heartbeat mirrors the rhythmic orbits of stars around their galactic centers. Every moment of stillness aligns with the quiet patience of comets drifting through the outer dark. You carry the stars within you, not just metaphorically, but in the elements of your bones, your blood, your breath. You are made of stardust in the truest sense. You are a continuation of cosmic history, a small luminous instance of the universe reflecting back upon itself. And in this realization, the night sky becomes less of a distant spectacle and more of a familiar home, quiet, vast, embracing. As your awareness settles into this truth, Imagine yourself lying in a quiet field beneath the stars. The air is cool, the ground is soft, the sky stretches above you like a calm ocean of light. You no longer feel separate from it. You feel included, as though the universe is breathing with you, gentle, steady, serene. You sense the stars shining softly, not for attention, but simply because shining is their nature. You feel the night embracing you, not in darkness, but in comfort. You feel yourself sinking more deeply into rest, your thoughts loosening their grip, your body relaxing into the rhythm of the cosmos. The unity of stars and night is not a grand revelation. It is a quiet truth, easy to overlook, but deeply soothing when felt fully. The universe is one continuous story, and you are part of that story, drifting peacefully within its infinite pages. So let yourself rest now in this unity. Let the slow, ancient rhythms of the cosmos guide you into gentler breaths. Let the calm light of distant galaxies soften your thoughts. Let the drifting of dust and the patience of comets remind you that there is no hurry, no pressure, no urgency in this moment. Only calm, only quiet, only the soft presence of a universe that has held you since before you were born.